Gaming news today is all about the Xbox Developer Direct, and the consensus seems to be that they nailed it. Outside of a bit of a strange game and a choice from Double Fine, the reactions to Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, and Fable seem to be very positive. I thought Forza looked incredible. I don't really expect anything less from the team at the Horizon group that works on Forza Horizon. Beast of Reincarnation, I think, kind of stole the show. I did not expect to see such a robust combat system. It's deep, surprisingly very tight and polished. We are hearing maybe, though, that Game Freak outsourced a lot of the development, which maybe is why it looks a little impressive for their first outing in this type of game. But the thing that I really want to talk about, the thing that everybody seems to be talking about, is Fable. Now, I'm currently working on a video. I had a really hard time making this video last night before I went to dinner. My family was like, are you running late? You know, my wife's like, do I need to bring dinner down? Because sometimes, you know, I work past my normal time. I couldn't get the video to land right. I couldn't get it to land in the way that I wanted. I really want to work on it and make sure that it's put together in a good way, because I really am torn about what we saw in Fable. There are a lot of good things. Fans of Fable are extremely excited about the details, the systems, the very sort of Fable nature of the game. And I actually thought it looked very good in those particular departments. But it also had all the hallmarks and the red flags of a game that's just nowhere near ready. And everybody's pushing back and saying, well, there was a disclaimer at the beginning. It said this doesn't represent the final product. Listen, after waiting almost 6 years, I don't think that disclaimer is a get-out-of-jail-free card, okay? As the dust is settling on the initial hype, I think more and more people are going to see what I'm seeing. I've even seen pro Xbox guys saying, listen, there's stuff here that looks really, really rough. It doesn't look as good as I was hoping. Obviously, yes, we're hoping they can polish it, but dismissing this is like me hating Xbox or, oh, well, the game's got 8 months. They'll be able to fix all this. I don't really think you're engaging with what I'm saying. It's not the game itself that I have an issue with. It's the packaging. It's kind of how they brought it to the table. I've watched plenty of Xbox showcases. I've been excited for plenty of Xbox games like Doom the Dark Ages as an example. I think Forza looks fantastic. Even though it's not really a game I play, I don't really play the racing games. It looks great. I mean, credit where credit is due, but much like other times in the past, we had the concerning trailers with Redfall. We had the concerning looks at Starfield. We had the concerning looks at Avowed. And every time I would point those things out, people would dismiss it and say, well, they have time to fix it, or, oh, you're just hating. And every single one of those games launched, and they were clearly not ready and had lots of issues, or they just felt pretty lackluster and people didn't like them. I mean, Redfall was pretty much a disaster. Starfield launched at 30 FPS and has been heavily criticized. Doesn't have a good review score with the audience. Avowed got a lot of mixed response from people, and it did have a lot of performance issues at launch. I think we're sitting in an exact same scenario here. I really do hesitate to get excited about anything coming from Xbox because they have a habit of making their developers show things and push things out when they seemingly just aren't ready. We're once again walking away from a showcase where Fable didn't really give me confidence. They didn't even give me a solid release date. It's supposed to come out this year. None of the gameplay footage lasts longer than about 20 to 30 seconds. It feels more like they kind of flew over the game. They gave us tons of great info. They gave us tons of great little snapshots of things you're going to be able to do in the game. But for an open world game, we never really saw how the open world was going to look. Even this morning when I was rewatching it, many of the gameplay sequences feel incredibly contained, like they're using fog to really not let you see very far. Even when they're showing the horse riding, there's this almost like fog dissipating as they're riding. I'm not sure if this engine is going to let them kind of wrestle this game to the ground. I think they have great vision. I think they have great ideas. I think they're capturing the identity and the essence of Fable. That's not what's in question. What's in question is if the game is going to be ready. I'm not hating. I'm not even being really critical. I'm saying this just wasn't the showing that was the one I was looking for. I kept saying yesterday in the lead up to this, I want to see lengthy, uncut gameplay. We get that from so many games. When Elden Ring finally showed up, it was a bunch of lengthy, uncut gameplay. You just get to see them kind of roaming the open world. Go watch when Horizon Forbidden West finally gave us a gameplay trailer. Spider-Man 2, Ghost of Yote. These are very different games, but because they're open world, it stands to reason that when they finally let us see the game, you kind of see it as it functions. You kind of see it as it is going to work. And this was just very quick snippets throughout the entire deep dive. It felt, as I said, more like a flyover than a deep dive. They did the deep dive into the systems, and I think that's why the Fable fans are really celebrating. And I think if they can nail it, they are going to be very happy. I think Fable fans are going to be thrilled with this game. I didn't feel like they did a deep dive into actual gameplay. It felt like they were very hesitant to show anything at length. And when people are saying, oh, but it's 8 months away, they have time to fix it. I can't think of the last time I watched a gameplay showcase of a game in the year that it was coming out that was this sort of mysterious or like rough or buggy or not great with performance. It seems like they're very much trying to keep their cards close to their chest, which to me signals this thing's not ready. I really do worry here. I think the main thing I'm calling for is caution. I worry about the game's quality if they actually push it out this year. And I also worry it could get pushed again. It could get delayed again since they haven't committed to a release date. Nobody wants to land close to GTA 6. And I'm looking at the game that 8 months is nothing in the development world. It really isn't. And this is such a significant game. It's huge. These systems sound elaborate. You can do something in the earliest parts of the game that will affect the rest of the game. All these intertwined systems, NPCs you can follow throughout the day, people that remember what you did and how much they like or don't like you. That all sounds wonderful, but it also sounds really complex, really dense. It doesn't sound like the kind of game you're just going to polish up in 8 months. We have waited a really, really long time for this game, and what they showed yesterday still feels very much like, hey, we're casting a great vision, we have great ideas, but we really can't show you very much of the game. It's got to be very curated and contained. Watch it again with that in mind. Watch it again with the thought of, do we ever see anything lengthy and uncut? Horizon Forbidden West shows you like an entire mission. Spider-Man 2 shows you like an entire mission. And in this, it's like I can't even watch a fight from beginning to end. You literally let me see the sword swing or a spell, and then you immediately cut away. These are the hallmarks of a game that isn't quite ready just yet. And I don't know if they're going to have enough time to get it out this year at the quality that we want to see after waiting all this time. So if you classify that as hate or hating Xbox, or you don't like anything that Xbox does, it's like, I actually am very interested in this game. They've had me interested since the pre-alpha footage because I thought the trailers leading up to now was really showing us a game that was going to be a very open world, modern, more cinematic thrust Fable. It was going to have really, really good combat in this big, huge open world and all these people you can interact with. And I think what we saw yesterday was the scaffolding of that game. I don't really feel like we saw the game itself, though, if that makes sense. So those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. I'm seeing a lot of different opinions on this. Like I said, somebody even put a clip in the Discord of like a pro Xbox guy who's like really, really big on Xbox, and he was saying the exact same things I was saying. Like, man, that combat looks rough. It doesn't really look like it's polished and ready to go. There were frame rate issues. Why was there no open world gameplay? Like, none at all. Like 5 to 10 seconds of her riding on the horse, and even that didn't look very good. I don't know. I think this game has massive promise, massive potential. To me, it just doesn't look it's going to be ready. It doesn't. It looks like they've got a ways to go. It really, really does. TJ says terrible combat, lame magic, dusty fireball. Yeah, I saw people saying that, they think that combat's just not it just yet. I'm trying to put together a video that's about the right thing. Like, it's so easy when something like this happens for people just to assume, like, oh, you're just being negative, you're just hating. And it's like, I was really excited, and I was watching it feeling like, man, you guys just aren't letting us see anything. You just keep cutting the camera. You keep jumping to the next thing. And man, that combat, like, I immediately felt like, I don't know about this. And the fans of Fable are quick to be like, well, combat doesn't really matter. They made the combat a big central focus every time the trailers came out. So I don't think you can just dismiss everything I'm saying. We're like, well, yeah, but that's just Fable. It's like they were advertising something very different than what I saw. I did not see like a more modern open world like action combat system. I saw a very, very like rigid. They didn't even let me really see the player reposition all that much, because the few times they let you see him reposition, it just doesn't look very good. It looks a little awkward. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Hang on, I got to get Tiger Attack on here. Sorry. Tiger Attack with a renewal. Thank you for 9 months and using your Prime. Let me put you there on the total. I am going to be on Ginger Prime's show today at 1 p.m. Eastern, so you guys have a normal, pretty lengthy show here. To get the goal, you got a good amount of time to get that goal. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you have hit that like button. Try to get us our first 100 likes. Thanks so much for being here. I mean, if you know Fable, I think that's such an interesting way to defend it, though. It's like the last Fable came out like 16 years ago. Don't you expect it to be better in some of these departments? You're okay with the combat not looking like up to snuff? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the combat should be on par with other games in the market right now. You know? Like, it doesn't even look... The combat in Veilguard really got old, but, like, at least Veilguard's, like, movement and, like, player, you know, moment-to-moment volition felt smooth. I got really tired of the Veilguard combat. Like, it just got very repetitive. The combat looks like it was made for a game made in the 2000s. The combat reminded me of The Witcher 3. It just looked like stiff and rigid to me. I don't know. Combat has never been my focus for Fable. That's such beside the point, though. If you go back and watch the trailers, they made it seem like combat was going to be legit in this. It's a centerpiece of those trailers. It happens a bunch, and it looks awesome. And in this thing that they did, it gets equal treatment. I feel like there's two things people keep saying. Well, that's not really Fable. Stop talking to me about what Fable was. Look at the actual presentation. Look at the trailers up to now. Fable, in that developer direct, spent equal time on combat as everything else. They showed a significant amount of it. To talk like it doesn't matter, it's like, well, then why are they focusing on it? Why was it such a focal point of the previous trailers? They made it seem like the combat was going to be legit. That was the one thing we kept debating. This is what always drives me crazy about this. It's like there's so much revisionist history. Those early Fable trailers, that was the number one debate, was people kept saying, that looks hot, that combat looks sick. And I kept saying, I don't think that's real gameplay. I think that's simulated. And then when we get an actual showcase, the combat looks nothing like what they showed us in those early trailers. I get told that, well, combat doesn't matter. It's Fable. Come on. Come on. They focused on it a bunch. Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Eugene says, imagine fighting the giant with that combat. A scene they showed as an early cinematic with fluidity, and you're going to fight him with that clunky combat. Yeah, one of the earliest combat sequences they showed us was fighting the giant, like running around this room and like jumping and doing different things. Like, that was one of the earliest things they showed us. DJ May 88 says, yesterday I said I couldn't see what you were seeing. After watching it again and again, combat does need some work, plus the frame rate was off a bit. The frame rate is a little less concerning, because I know that's something that, okay, yeah, frame rate, they can polish. Okay, frame rate's like in the mix right now. My concern attached to frame rate is, where's the open world? Where? Look at every sequence. Everything's very much like it's all really contained. Seriously, I watched it again this morning. I was watching people react to it. I was watching Maddie Plays and other people. I was like, okay, what's everybody saying? What's everybody thinking? Like, Maddie has got some specific criticisms about like the morality and stuff, but overall, he thought it looked very good. His concerns about morality, I think, are totally fair. Now, they have said one of the reasons they don't want your appearance to change according to morality, every time you get to a new town, they want that town to treat you neutral. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, but why not give the player the option to say, no, change my appearance. I want to walk into a town and I want them to know I'm evil, or I want them to know I'm good. I think that would be okay to let the player choose that. They decided to not do that because that's kind of their vision for the game, is that when you go to a new town, they have no idea. You can be a tyrant in the town you're coming from, like charging exorbitant rent and kicking people out of their houses. You can walk into this new town and they have no idea that that's the kind of person that you are. So that is some of the criticism that people have had. Jake Baldino didn't like that either, that like your appearance isn't going to change with the morality. Thank you, Gordon, for 23 months of memberships. Let me add it to the total. So attached to the frame rate, to me, it's just like, where was the open world? You know what I mean? It's like, this game's coming out in 8 months and you couldn't show me an uncut sequence. Why couldn't you show me an uncut sequence? Get on the horse, leave a town, ride around, go up to a camp, get in a fight, get back on the horse. Why? I'm telling you, if you go watch other open world games when they finally show their gameplay showcase, that's like the main thing they want to show you. What's this open world going to feel like? Now, people are like, well, they're going to show us more later this year. All right. This seemed like the perfect time, but okay. A $5 super chat from Hidden Siriu. The walking animation, though, how are we glossing over this? What's the matter with the walking animation? I feel like the walking animation seems fine to me. To me, it's the repositioning. When they're in the fight a couple of times, the player, the character repositions. It just doesn't look good. It looks super awkward. It reminds me of like when we watched. I'm not saying this game is as bad as Mind's Eye. That's not what I'm saying. They'll try to claim that. I'm not saying that. But it reminds me when I watch Mind's Eye or like the Gotham Knights trailer. You watch the player movement and there's something awkward about it. It's like, why is he moving like that? Now, watch Beast of Reincarnation. Every time the character moves, repositions, parries, blocks, or whatever, it just looks normal. It just looks like a normal game. It's like, yeah, that looks fine. In this, every time the player repositions, it looks really stiff and awkward, and they don't really let you see it. There's like, I don't know, 10 combat clips. 2 of them let you see him reposition. They all don't show you the entire fight. They all come in halfway, and they all leave before anything really happens. It's like, well, yep, stop, okay. Like, the one time he, like, walks up and kicks the chicken to, like, end the scene. But for the most part, they're not letting you see the entire thing. And I'm like, why? Why? I keep coming back to this. It's not the game. It's how they packaged it. It's how they brought it to the table. I'm like, this is exactly what a company does when the game is just not ready. It reminds me of Redfall trailers. It reminds me of the Starfield trailers, where like they would show you something, you could kind of see rough edges and performance issues, and you're like, I don't know what's going on here. It reminds me of some of those Avowed trailers where we're like, it just looks kind of awkward and stiff, and there's visible performance issues. It seems like when they hit the enemies, they don't really move. Like, if you guys remember, this is not our first rodeo with a game from an Xbox studio that is showing us quick snippets, and when you really take a second to rewatch it and look at it, you're like, I don't know, man, this looks kind of rough. And I worry that it's the engine. When I saw gameplay, it reminds me of Echoes of Eden. That's another great example of a game where the player movement is very rigid and very like, it's like you're moving on a grid. It's how I describe it. It's like your player kind of pivots and moves on a grid, now left. It's like there's this invisible chessboard on the ground, and your character has to move like a rook. It's like you can go left, you can go up. It's like there's just this lack of fluidity. It doesn't feel like you're kind of like, navigating through the world like we saw in the Beast of Reincarnation gameplay. That doesn't look like that. It looks like the player can just kind of move freely. There's like this almost straitjacket feel on you in games like that. When I played Echoes of Eden, it was like I couldn't move in the way that I wanted to. It has that grid-like feel to it. It did look like Avowed to me a little. What I said yesterday was, to me, if you would have built Avowed for third person, this is what it would have looked like. That like, no hate. I just thought Avowed I just never thought it looked that great. It wasn't built for third person, so when you played it in third person, it didn't look all that wonderful. It was built for first person. But this was something we always said about Avowed. It was like, it just doesn't, I don't know, there's something about it. There's something about the movement. And the RPG guys and the Fable guys, some of them are just going to completely look past this and be like, I don't really care about that. I just really felt like they were really selling me really awesome like combat up to now. I go back and I watch those original trailers and I'm like, y'all were really setting an expectation here. Don't tell me that it doesn't matter. Don't tell me that Fable doesn't really need good combat. Don't tell me that RPGs don't need good combat. That's so much hand waving. A game like this from a studio like this after 6 years, whoever's building the combat, it should be excellent. It should be pristine. It should be high quality. We should not be accepting something that looks and feels subpar. I just don't agree with that at all. Hidden Serious says the casual audience cares about this stuff and they'll skip. Well, I just don't know if the casual audience will pick up on everything I'm talking about. I think a lot of them will be like, oh, this is cool. I can buy a house and have a wife and, go get in some fights. Like, as long as it's a serviceable game, they won't care. My concern is that it won't be ready. I see all the hallmarks of a game that's not close to ready. I don't think it's like 8 months away. I'm looking at this game and I'm like, this feels like something you would show when your release date is 18 to 24 months away. You're kind of flying over the game. You're like, here's a quick sample of this system. It's like everything's a very quick sample. Great. If your game's coming out in 2 years, not 8 months. It didn't feel like a deep dive of a game that's like right around the corner. When Spider-Man 2 or Horizon Forbidden West, when those games were right around the corner and they finally showed us gameplay, it's just this big, huge, uncut showing. It's like, yeah, here's a whole mission. So if we can get that at some point this year, I'll feel a whole lot better. But right now I'm like, y'all didn't really want to show the game. You kept cutting everything real short. It's like, wow, okay. I don't know. That sends up red flags to me. We've been here before. This isn't our first rodeo watching a breakdown of a game where it feels like it doesn't look polished. You're willing. I really want you to think about this. I want you to think about a studio that is willing to show you footage that they know isn't running well. I want you to think about that. Think about what that means. They did it with Starfield. Think about like Mind's Eye. Think about Redfall. Like showing me gameplay that has within it stuff that's not really working right, stuff that doesn't look all that great, performance issues in your deep dive. Like, if you're willing, there's two things here. On the positive side, you could say they're willing to show that because they're committed and they're not trying to hide anything and they're going to fix it. I hope that that's the case. I do. There's another side to this coin. They could be showing it because it's the best they got. And it's got a ways to go. I lean towards the average studio does not want to show you footage that's got performance issues in it. That the average studio does not want to do that. So if they're doing it, it's the best they got, which to me is concerning. I've been covering games for a long time, man. The average studio in these cases do not walk out with frame stuttering in their footage or performance issues or just things that aren't working right, like awkwardness in the gameplay. It's like that's not normal. Can we watch the original Fable trailer? Why? AOZ says, they showed stuff that was misleading 4 years ago. This is supposed to release in autumn, yeah. Yeah. Best they got, but committed to improving it. I will say that. I trust this studio to really work to get this thing at a high degree of quality. My concern is they've been told, no, this must ship at this date. Get this thing out the door. We've waited long enough. That's my concern, is that it's going to ship and it's just going to clearly be rough around the edges and they're going to have to do an awful lot to fix it. Because it did not feel like a deep dive into the gameplay of a game coming out in 8 months. It literally looks like a game that's like 18 to 24 months away, which would be fine. Like, if you would have done this stream like a year and a half ago, I'd have been like, that's looking like it's got a ton of promise. But when you're like, this is what we're going to show you, and this is how we're going to show it to you, and your game's coming out in 8 months, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Like, this does not look ready at all. And people are like, well, they said it's not the final product at the beginning and it's got 8 months. I'm like, I don't see a game that is 8 months away. I see a game that's like a year and a half away or more. Comments still look like the alpha. That's my thing. Go back and watch the pre-alpha footage and then watch everything they showed yesterday. It looks very, I don't know. It looks very similar. It's like, man, you guys are still not ready to land this plane. I don't know. If this would have happened with, like, if Horizon Forbidden West would have been like, yep, here's our trailer, we're finally going to show you gameplay, and it would have been a bunch of quick cuts and a bunch of quick snapshots, and then there were, like, visible performance issues, man, I'd have been worried. I'd have been like, I don't know what y'all are doing over there, but that's not it. I remember literally people doing frame-by-frames of Horizon Forbidden West gameplay showcase, and, like, her feet didn't touch a platform. She, like, grapple hooked up and went to, like, jump off of it. And because of, like, clipping and how things work in a game, like, her foot didn't touch it. And, like, I remember people saying that was such a joke and the game was going to be trash. And I'm like, oh, okay, this debut had frame stutters and frame rate oddities in it, and it had the player moving in ways that didn't seem like it was ready. It was all like rigid. Like, what's going on with the character movement? The gameplay trailer for Black Myth Wukong looked like it ran great. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, though, isn't it? The propensity for studios to show you a hyper-polished vertical slice with zero flaws is a whole nother argument. Listen, Playground Games deserves praise for that. They didn't walk out and show you some super polished vertical slice of her, like, walking into town, talking to an NPC, leaving town, and going and getting in a fight, okay? They could have done that, and we'd all be going, wow, that looks incredible. So they deserve total credit for not putting together something that was like misleading. I'll give them credit for that. Now, when I watch the old trailers, I kind of feel like these trailers are misleading. I don't feel like the game you're delivering looks like this at all, with the exception of, like, walking around town. Walking around town in the early trailers to now is like 1-to-1, like nothing's changed. But the NPC interactions, the NPC facial animations, they don't look anything like those early trailers. Those early trailers look ridiculously good, the facial animations and the characters. And now, buddy, those facial animations are rough. And I give them a pass on that because of automation, but this is exactly why you don't do trailers like that. Like, go back and watch those trailers. Like, look at the NPCs' faces in those early trailers. It it looked incredible. It's like, oh my gosh, they look so real. And now, not so much. Go back and look at those early trailers and look at the combat. And the combat they were selling looked very like PlayStation action game adjacent. They were trying to come out with their own big, huge open world game with great action combat, and it's Fable, so we're expecting it to be really, really good, RPG systems in it. Do you think that the frame rate in Fable is terrible because of the complex systems? No, I don't think it's the complex systems, Pan. I think it's the engine. Remember when we heard early on that they were having difficulties with the engine? Do you remember when we were hearing that? And people were quick to dismiss it. And I was like, why are we being quick to dismiss it? It's a studio that's never made a game like this using the Forza tech engine. The Forza tech engine's never been used for an open world RPG. I think it's the engine. I think that stuff we heard back then, I think that was true. I think they were having issues with the engine. I think we're seeing evidence of that right now. After 6 years, what they showed yesterday lacked polish, had performance issues. It was highly curated and very chopped up. That doesn't give me confidence that this engine is landing the plane well. I think it's the engine. I don't think it's the studio and their abilities or their vision. I think they've got a great vision for the game. I don't think RPG systems or any of that's in jeopardy. I think it's the engine. Something's not right. It's like you're looking at it and you're like, something's off here. There are times where she moves through the town and it looks perfect, and there are other times where she's moving around or he's moving around and, like, the frame rate's snagging and they almost look disconnected from the world or something. It's very odd. It never looked consistent to me. So again, my red flags on this are not that it's going to be a bad game. My red flags are, this is nowhere near ready. This is not 8 months away. We've watched lots of gameplay showcases and breakdowns of games that were, 6 to 8 months away. And I don't think I've ever seen one like this. This is like, you guys are really not letting us see this thing. And that usually is a sign of a studio that's like, listen, this has got a lot of rough edges still, man. You want us to walk out and show a bunch of gameplay? So it was almost like each department handed off like a very quick sample of like, well, here's what it would look like if you're, talking to a shop owner, and here's what it would look like for you to fight with a sword or do a spell. And so it's like everything's like 20 seconds. Everything is a quick cut. And a single gifted comes in from DK Baker. Thank you so much, getting us a 309. And a 5-bomb comes in from Arthur Torres right on the heels of DK. We are now at 314. Lone Wolf says, we have to keep in mind that we don't know how old this footage is. It could have been footage from the October or September for all we know. I'm thinking it was like mid-November, though. Wired Rope is going to drop a 5-bomb as well to keep the competition between the platforms going. It's now 7-6. We're sitting at 19. We are 6 away. I still owe you guys 4 members, YouTube. I still owe you guys 4. I'm going to pay that up today. I didn't want to do 4 singles. I'll just wait, and then I'll do a 5-bomb all at once. If I do too many a day, it gets funky on me, and sometimes it'll stop me from doing that. DJ May 88 is going to drop a 5-bomb on purple. We're 1 away, and Siege Master's going to snipe it for YouTube. Nice work, Siege Master. There it is. I officially owe you guys 5. I am going to do that now. Make sure you guys are checking your primes over there on purple. Make sure you guys are checking your renewals on YouTube. Cardoc Ren tried it, and he ends up being an Agents of Chaos and pushes us to 326. Every little bit helps, y'all. If you guys, the stream with Madam is now Saturday night. So if you guys can get this to 500 before the show is over today, Madam and I will do a stream tomorrow night. It's called Gaming News Tonight, where we have her react to the week's gaming news. And listen, you guys want this stream this week. I want to see what Madam thinks when she watches Fable. We're going to see if she sees anything that I see, because she's very much like the casual, right? So that will be tomorrow night if you guys can hit that goal, and that'll be a fun stream. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're hitting the like button as well. That really, really helps. So I really want to, if we get close, I'll drop a 50, says Rissick. Guys, Rissick saying if he can get us close, he'll drop a 50, so the gauntlet has been thrown down. I really want to stress this because I know there's a lot of folks out there that will try to tell you, or they'll get in my comments. We've already had a couple people in chat this morning saying, well, you just hate Xbox, right? You're just an Xbox hater. A 5-bomb comes in from Siege Master and gets us to 331. He says, boys, we got a 50-bomb gauntlet on the table. Let's go for it. This has nothing to do with the game or the studio. It has everything to do with the presentation. It just gave me a lot of unease. It just a lot of red flags. Forza looked fine. Beast of Reincarnation looked fine. The Double Fine game, I think, is an odd choice for them to do like a party brawler. Party brawlers don't really appeal to me, but it looked fine. And 50 months comes in from Storm. Thank you so much for renewing your membership, man. That's a lot of months, Storm. Welcome back. And Twilight is going to come in with a 5-bomb over there on purple to make it interesting. Twitch now in the lead, 17-14. Let's see an actual battle between the platforms. Twitch, we're trying to get back to 500 sub points. We're at 400. Yes. Okay. You guys are just going to have to find your way this morning. If it goes away, she'll be fine, but, you know. Huh? Mama will handle that. Don't worry about that. Just, I would advise you guys to leave her be and be quiet. Madam woke up with a headache this morning, so the kiddos are like, what do we do? I'm like, well, just chill. We're at 413 sub points over there on purple, so you guys could actually get us there today if y'all go crazy enough. Beast of Reincarnation had some frame rate issues too. Yo, 51 months from a man, Charles Freeman. Let's add it to the total and get to 338. Yeah, Beast of Reincarnation is another one of those, like, Tides of Annihilation, where, like, there's so much going on the screen, Lone Wolf. I have concerns about performance. I had the same concern about Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and Wu Chang Fallen Feathers had all kinds of performance issues when I played it. I still don't think the game looks very good, even after some of their patches, because they do all those particle effects. Tides of Annihilation has frame rate issues in its trailer. And then Beast of Reincarnation, I saw them as well. They weren't quite as noticeable, but they were definitely there. And it's like, when your game looks like that and there's all that crazy stuff going on, I think sometimes they go too hard. I think they put all the explosions and particle effects everywhere. Realizing that Lono talks to us exactly the way he talks to his kids. That's not true. Your character changing is a core mechanic in the Fable franchise, and they took it out. Now, they explained that, Siryu. I get why people are frustrated, but I get their vision. Siege Master comes in with a tier 3 for 26 months over there on Purple. Thank you so much, Siege Master. And a $10 super chat on YouTube. Easy Tone says, with Fable, I also think the concept of the morally gray system is very cool on paper, but the examples weren't that exciting. Gut feeling is it won't be that deep or interesting in execution. Yeah, there are people that are worried about that. Here, let me set the super chat goal, because some of you guys prefer to do super chats instead of gifting members. I will gift a member. Wait, did I do a single gifted instead of a 5-bomb? I messed that up. All right, don't let me off the hook. I messed that up. I was on autopilot. I still owe you guys 4. If you guys get another win today, YouTube, I will do the 5-bomb when that happens. I completely brain farted there. That's my bad. Their explanation was they want you to be able to walk to a new town and for that town to treat you neutral. They want it to basically be like a fresh start. I get that. Okay? I do. I get that. But I also get that, somebody would be totally okay with walking up to a town and having horns and being like, yeah, I'm evil. I'm here to be evil. Does that make sense? I don't know. Yo, what's good, Snow? I don't know. To me, it was like that. I understand why they made the change, but I could definitely hear the Fable community being like, we would have been okay with that. We would have totally been okay with going up to a town and being like, yeah, I'm here. I got the horns. I'm an evil person. I'm here to do evil. You know what I mean? You rang? No, I don't think so. I mean, there is a lot of snow headed our way, but not your kind of snow. So I get why the Fable community is disappointed in that decision. I do. I totally understand it. Yeah, I'm here to be evil. What they could have done with that is you would get to a town and there would be some underbelly scumbags that would be like, hey, you're my kind of person, right? Oh, coming in with horns and I'm here to be evil. Oh yes, that is definitely you for sure. You are the villain, the TikTok bandit. So you see what I'm saying? They could have literally had good people in town that wouldn't work with you. They'd be like, I know what you're all about. We run an upstanding business here, and then you'd have to try to navigate around that. Oh, we got a hype train starting on Purple. Let's see if you guys can blast ahead here. It's 18-15, and we have a gauntlet thrown down by Risic. He'll do a 50 bomb if we get close enough, so we need about another 100 members. Let's see what both platforms can do today, right? It's Friday after all. What I really think is happening is that it's an excuse to have less features in the game. It could be, or it could be that it's going to give new features a lot more breathing room. A 5-bomb comes in from Wired Rope. Thank you so much. There goes the start. That's the starter pistol, Twitch. Move that little hype train along. And then I'll owe you guys if you get it to 350, whoever can get it there. We're 6 away. They could say, well, it's going to leave more room for more systems. If you want to have different things happening in different places. Joker Quinn bumps the line by 1. He sets up the 5-bomb dunker. We'll see who slams that one home. Nicely done, Joker Quinn. Maybe they want you to be able to go into a new town and say, well, I want to manage property here. I don't want to do criminal activity. I want to go over here, and instead of managing property, I want to go into business here. Maybe there's multiple systems that they feel like we're really going to start to get like tripping on themselves if you're walking around with horns on your head and looking like an evil person. I don't know. They'd have to elaborate more if there were there long tail reasons that they removed that. Would it make late game function not as well or something? Like, think of it like this. You kill the giant and it completely changes the property value in that town, and then that affects the game for the rest of the game. Dope shirt, sir. Thank you, Feed. Good to see you in the chat, Feed. How was Maddie feeling on Fable? Maddie was very, very strong in the excitement factor. He was a little concerned about some of the choices with like morality and other things. People told me that he thought that like it looked a little rough performance and combat wise. I couldn't find a clip of him saying that. The only thing he seemed hung up on was the morality system. He, to his credit, before it came out, Maddie was like, I really hope they don't, walk away from the morality system. It was the one thing he was hoping that they were going to continue using and keeping in the game. And Kardoc Ren drops a 5-bomb and slams it home for purple. I owe you guys a member over there. I'm going to do that one now. Thank you so much, Kardoc Ren. And he takes the contest to 28-16. Purple's now squarely in the lead. Thank you so much for that. I'm helping out. And I gifted one to Snow. There it is. Welcome on in, Snow. Hang on. I'm getting notifications in Discord. Oh, it was just, I thought it was a DM. It was just people adding me. I'm always like, did I get a DM? He also wanted more fun emotes or something. Something about fun. Oh, Maddie did? I didn't hear him talk about that. The main thing he seemed hung up on, Jake Baldino, same thing. He was super excited. He was kind of hung up on the morality system changes. Like, he really thought your appearance changing in relation to your morality, he thought, man, that's just such a Fable thing. Like, he seemed kind of bummed that wasn't going to be there as well. For me, I love the idea of the business part. I would like to be like a warrior entrepreneur. And that's what I love about this game, the potential to kind of like craft your own person. Like, you can have multiple wives and lots of children, which I don't need that kind of stress in my video games, right? But I wouldn't mind going out questing and fighting and then using the spoils of my fighting to invest in business and have people working for me. I think that sounds great. That means I need the combat to look and feel really good. And right now, I don't think that it does. I think the systems sound awesome. And I think the combat looks very rough. Eugene says, I just want one of their games to live up to the expectations that they've set. I don't think that that's too much to ask. A warrior landlord. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. When I was a cruel landlord in Fable 2, I jacked the prices as high as possible. No, I wouldn't be a landlord. I would be a businessman. I would take my money and I would invest it in business. That's what I would do. You know? Take the spoils of war and bring it back home and invest it in business. I think that sounds awesome. All right, Hype Train came to a close. Thank you so much. That's called a king. I mean, you call it what you want. That's what I would do. You can call it a king. You can call it an entrepreneurial mercenary, right? A mercentrepreneur. That doesn't work. Sorry. TJ says, I'm going to take my money and buy a different game. So they didn't complain about the combat. I've seen people complain about the combat. Yeah. Somebody put a clip, I think it was like the Iron Lords podcast, in our Discord. And there's a guy on there. He did not think the combat looked very good. He was saying the same things I was saying. And that's a guy that is admittedly very pro Xbox. And he thought it looked bad. Now Baldino and Maddie didn't seem to say much about the combat. They said they thought it looked good. I see it very differently. You make up words naturally. Don't try to force it. It's true. It's true. For the PlayStation users, this is a launching ground. This is launching around Wolverine. Good look if it's released in a similar state. I'm not sure what you're saying, Eugene. I don't necessarily see these games as competing. I mean, I guess they could compete for your attention if you were considering, buying either. Oh, they are bums? Why are you calling people bums? They have opinions like everybody else. They don't seem like bums to me. They seem like guys that like Xbox a lot. That's fine. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones, man. The one guy on that podcast wasn't too kind to me in the past. Whatever. I made fun of the thing that he said. I don't know. I'm letting it go. I'm like, whatever. I thought what he said was he sounded like me. No, he didn't sound like me. But what he said, it sounded like me. I was like, that's all the stuff that I said. I'd invest in other streamers as their manager, get 10% of their sums, and then give equipment upgrade incentives to those that hit personal goals. Grow together. Do it. Do it. When you know the ins and outs of the business. You know what I'm saying? I think you have what it takes to do that. You just gotta get some people on the roster. Hold the line. That's what I'm saying. I made fun of the hold the line thing, whatever. I didn't think they should hold the line. I thought they should have been a lot more critical of what Xbox is doing. I didn't agree with any of that back then, and people took shots right back. That's fine. I'm not holding grudges. I thought what he said made sense. Somebody put the clip in the Discord, and I was like, that's exactly what I saw. I saw the same thing he saw. That's somebody that you would think there's a bias there. Oh yeah, he's going to come out and be like, this is great, right? No, he seemingly put his bias aside and said, I thought it looked rough. People think I'm saying this because of a bias, and it was like, what do you mean? I'm not some big huge Fable fanboy, and this thing had my attention. I was like, this game could be it. This could be their big release. This could be the thing that really puts their attempts to have big AAA games back on good course, because I thought Doom the Dark Ages was kind of the beginning of that. Doom went a little off kilter in my opinion, but it was still very well built, looked good, ran well. As someone who has a roster, I would not advise that. You would not advise what? 10% of their subs, reinvest equipment. I mean, I don't know. Snow's talking about something different than I think that what you do. I don't think that's the same. Rope coming in, gifting one to our man Feed, taking care of him. We're sitting at 351. Thank you so much, Rope. Oh, he's saying you don't want this life. Trust me. Maybe that's what he's saying. He's like, you don't want to work with content creators, Snow. It ain't worth it. They're crazy. Wait for real gameplay. I want to see. Let me show you some of the stuff that I noticed. All right. Let me just show you some of the stuff that I noticed. All right. I'm just gonna show you. This is something that stood out to me because I was watching it this morning, and I was watching this back. All right. This is the first time I think it's really noticeable. Now I want you to watch something. There's a theme that emerges in this footage, and it starts right here. And they do two things a lot in all of this footage. This is an open world game where they consistently obstruct your ability to see very far, or there is a heavy use of fog. Okay? Now, as she rides here, I'm not even looking at the frame rate because the frame rate is awkward. Her horse frame rate and everything else. They just as you come into here, they let you see this out in the distance, right? This feels very much like they're trying to really, really use fog and obstructing your vision to keep things from being seen. This is also one of the spots where the performance is just very awkward. The grass hill is rolling by at like a really smooth frame rate, and then her and the horse seem to be completely disconnected from the frame rate of the game. It was like that little indie title that Barrier liked so much, where the character was running at a lower frame rate than the game itself. That's a cutscene. This is not a cutscene, homie. This is literally in the game's engine. This is not a cinematic. There's a radar in the corner, brother. Like, this isn't a cutscene. Now, you're going to notice that they commonly do this throughout the rest of the gameplay. They commonly do it. Every time, virtually, there is gameplay footage, your vision is very obstructed. You can't see very far, and there's a heavy use of fog, okay? They do it in almost every combat sequence. For an open world game, I'm looking at it and thinking, the engine's giving you trouble. You're having really, really difficulties with like render distance and performance, because that's always a significant challenge with any open world game. Render distance and performance are two of the more challenging things, right? Forbidden West had issues early on. Like right here, you might think you can see far, but that's just skybox back there. So this is about the farthest that they let you see of any of the footage. This is about the farthest they let you see. Right here. You got trees maybe 100 yards away, maybe. And then it's just skybox beyond, okay? Now watch. Virtually every section is from this point on, is like contained with fog. Like you can't see very far. You got the classic chicken kick. All right. See? I don't even know where I am here. I can't see. Here, I'm in like a cave, so no long distance of sightline at all here. Okay, same thing here. Look at look again. The use of fog is used even in this area here. All of a sudden, the fog clears. You can kind of see a little bit further. It keeps kind of coming in. You could say that's the lighting, maybe, but it seems like it's a fog system. It even kind of flickers in the background a little bit. Here again, a lot of fog. Can't see very far. It's a consistent theme. I'm telling you. Here again, I can't see very far. There's tons of fog everywhere. Look at this. I mean, and again, this is one of the best looking spots, I think, with the lights coming down through the trees. But once again, it's an open world game where I consistently feel, and here again, there's tons of fog and I can't see. It's a game that's open world where you're consistently putting me in a very contained set piece. Every fight is like this. This is like a circle area. This is like a boss fight, I guess. This is a consistent theme. Every time they show gameplay, this is what they're doing. They're really, really making it to where you cannot see very much, very contained little set pieces, and they don't let you see very much. Like that, you get 20 seconds maybe, and then it cuts and it goes to something else. You come in halfway through the fight, and then they're done. I'm telling you, I was watching this morning, I was like, wait, like almost every single combat sequence has this heavy amount of fog. Or, like, you're, like, in a little teeny area where I can't see very far. It reminds me of a lot of the areas in Dragon Age Veilguard. You would just go in, it's a room, you fight, go into another room, and you fight. It never felt like, Veilguard never felt like it opened up, which is fine. It wasn't supposed to. This is supposed to be an open-world game. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks like... And that's okay. If it's more like open zones that are kind of like tethered together, I'm actually fine with that. I have a little bit of open world fatigue anyway. I think we all have open world fatigue. But like other games that I feel like have showcased their open world gameplay, we get to see a ton. It just opens up and breathes, like the Forbidden West gameplay trailer, Yote gameplay trailer, Spider-Man 2 gameplay trailer. You get to see the world. It's like, oh, wow, look at that. And in this, I'm like, you just keep showing me these little teeny set pieces. That's not a problem in the game. I don't necessarily have a problem with that in the game. I don't mind going from like a set piece to a set piece. But as far as packaging and marketing go, this doesn't feel like a show of force for an open world game. It seems like you guys are still not quite ready yet. What I'm picking up on is not problems with the game. I'm picking up on problems with you guys still have a ways to go. I don't know if this is going to be ready. Yes, they have literally said open world. Yes. That was one of the main things about this. It was supposed to be like open world Fable. You go back and you watch those trailers. Man, oh man, they made the combat look sick. And now the combat's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, it looks kind of like Avowed and Veilguard. It doesn't look that great. And again, I get red flags from this. I'm like, we've seen gameplay showcases like this before where there's performance issues and quick cuts and quick edits. You won't let me see anything big. It's all very, very contained. Yeah, they've said seamless open world, I think, in this Dev Direct. They talk about it's going to be a seamless experience. And I'm like, I would like to see that. The visibility and area design in Expedition 33 was crazy, but I found myself ignoring it while playing unless I deliberately forced myself to take it in. Okay, so here's the thing, Raijin. I'm not actually saying it's an issue for gameplay. I'm saying it's a signal of something else. I think this is something that's really going to get lost because people are going to, do what they do, and they're going to react to my content or whatever, and they're going to say, he's just hating. I am not talking about the game and the gameplay like, oh, it's going to be terrible, it's not open world enough. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's an indication that this game is just not ready. It just doesn't seem ready. It seems like they're giving us little quick slices to be like, here's a room, here's a cave, there's tons of fog, you can't see very far. And it's like, this doesn't feel like a strong showcase for an open world game. It feels like you guys are really, really early. It's like I said, it's almost like a flyover. It's like a flyover of a game coming out in like a year and a half to 2 years, not a game coming out in like 8. I have a very tiny audio delay. Somebody said something about it yesterday. I've got my normal... Yeah, I've got my normal thing going. Hang on a second. Going to here. Apply. Okay, how about now? I basically just reset the microphone. Creature says there is no delay. It could just be YouTube acting up. Because somebody had it yesterday, and they refreshed, and it went away. And you're refreshing and saying it's not going away. Anyways. I'm really, really trying to drive that point home. I'm not being critical of this game and saying it's going to be bad or not fun. I'm saying there's an awful lot of indications here that this thing is not 8 months from launching. It doesn't feel like it's 8 months from launching. It's better for me. Did you do anything, or was it after what I did? I just reset the microphone device. Sometimes the audio devices need to be reset. It happens with my microphone that's basically a source for the gaming rig. So when I show you like a trailer, sometimes the audio is desynced. I reset the audio device and it goes away. So I don't know. I'm still seeing all those micro stutters in Windows, and I've always been concerned that that's an issue as well. So think of it this way. I'm essentially saying that this game, on paper, the systems they described, the passion that they have, and the vision that they have, it sounds like a 9 out of 10 game. What they showed me, the red flags that I'm seeing, have nothing to do with the game. I'm not, there's no indictment of the game here. There's no criticism of the game. The red flags that I'm seeing are signs of a studio that is not ready. They're like, we still have a long ways to go. This is the best we've got to show right now. We've got little slices of little pieces of the game. Here's this, here's that, and you put it together in this way, and it feels substantive on the surface, but then when you really analyze it, you're like, this was really a 30,000-foot flyover with lots of great information, but the game itself still feels very, very much sort of obscured from view here. So I do feel this could delay again. I actually would prefer it. Your critique is on a first look, not a deep dive. They literally called it a deep dive, brother. They literally advertised it as a deep dive. That's what they said this was going to be. This was not a first look. It's serving as a first look because everything up to now was fake, basically. It was fake. And then they showed us pre-alpha footage last year. The pre-alpha footage last year, that was your first look. That was like, oh, okay, that's roughly what combat's going to look like. I can kind of see where they're going. Looks a little rough, but, you know, I can see where they're going. This was not a first look. This was a freaking deep dive. This was, how long were they even on the screen? These homies were on the screen for, what? Over 10 minutes. That's not a first look. That's a significant amount of time to break down a game. Everything is voice acted. I think that was the part that I forget who I watched this morning that picked up on that. It's that new channel. He kind of exploded talking about how Bethesda thinks they're Naughty Dog. I forget his name. I think it was him. He was saying that sounds crazy. Like, that sounds, he's like, I feel like we've heard this kind of stuff before. Like, it seemed like it was giving him a little bit of pause. Like, every single character you can just walk around. They spend their entire day doing stuff. And he's like, I feel like we've heard this kind of stuff before. So he was a little apprehensive about that. I think that sounds great if it actually works. They're going to push the game into spring of 27. I fully support them delaying this game. After what I saw today, I'm going to tell you what, you guys got a lot of potential here. You got great ideas and you got great vision. I think you need to push this. I don't think this thing's ready in 8 months. I don't see a game that's at that state. Now, if they show up in the summer and they show me like uncut, lengthy, raw gameplay. I'm talking do what Guerrilla did with Forbidden West. Do what Insomniac did with Spider-Man. Let me see your dadgum game. Show me a bunch of, like, a whole thing uncut. You're in a town, you get a mission request, you get on your horse, you go out into the open world. Let me see this game. Let me see this seamless open world thing that you're talking about. You talk about a seamless open world experience and you didn't show it once. Not once in the entire thing did they show us a seamless open world experience. It was 20-second clips all strung together with good information, but I'm like, I don't see a seamless open world. I see a bunch of separated systems and scenes and very, very curated slices and set pieces. That looks like a game that hasn't really entered the landing phase. Does that make sense? Like, it's like a plane, right? When you're close to landing, there's all these things. There's all these indications. Like, you're close to coming in. You know, you're going to put the gear down. You're going to be talking to the tower. All of that. This feels like it's like 3/4 of the way through the trip still. It's like, now you guys got a ways to go still. You think Microsoft would delay or push it out to hit the anniversary? From where I sit, I really do think they could delay and not, it wouldn't be that significant if GTA 6 hits its date. I think GTA 6 is going to be a great distraction for a lot of people. Now, I don't think GTA 6 and Fable are like cross-shopped by their consumers, but GTA 6 is so big that if the end of the year, if that's like the big title that, you know, everybody's talking about, and Fable slips, I don't think people are going to be like losing their minds. I think they're going to be like, listen, take as much time as you need. That's why I think when this happened with GTA 6, right? It's a similar idea. It's like when you have to delay, I personally think the best thing you should do is say, we're not ready to give you a date yet. This happens a lot, right? It's like it feels like that perpetual delay. It's like Starfield got delayed. It was supposed to come out in like first half or something, and then it got delayed again. And it's like, just tell us to wait. I'm totally okay with that. So with Fable, I think that's what they should have done. They should have said, you know what? This is an incredibly important project. We want to make sure we nail it. The next time we talk to you, we will have a release window. So then they would have come to this developer direct and they would have been able to say spring of 27. And it would have been a bummer, but people would have been like, look, man, that's shaping up. We're okay to wait. Do you see? Like, I think the public is more receptive to that But when you're like, oh, sorry, we have to delay, it's coming out in 2026. And you're like, okay. And then when you come out in 2026, and I'm looking at this thinking, I don't know, this looks like it could easily slip again. You're going to get a lot more grace from people if when you finally show back up, you say spring of 2027. Highlander's Grim with 3 months says, what happens if GTA 6 gets delayed again? I don't know. And thank you for renewing. It's going to be annoying to everybody. I think it's going to be super annoying to everybody. GTA 6 is already really annoying to everybody. They made everybody shift around, and then they made everybody shift around again. You know? $8 months is fine. If the only thing we saw... I'll say this. I think you're right if the only thing we saw was some frame rate issues. If that was the only thing, I'd be like, oh, that's not a big deal. 8 months... Remember when we saw the screen tearing in Outer Worlds 2? Remember what I said? I was like, I don't think that's a concern. That could be whoever did the capture method might not know what they're doing with the capture card. It could be a driver or a settings issue. Like, I remember being like, I'm not worried about that. I thought Outer Worlds 2 looked good. It had performance issues, unfortunately, at launch. That theme is obviously rearing its head again in my mind. Avowed had performance issues at launch. Outer Worlds 2 had performance issues at launch. Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade 2, all games that ship with performance issues or 30 FPS at launch. Like, that's not a great track record at this point. Yo, Fast Flex hitting the double. How'd you do that? He re-upped with his Prime on purple at the exact same time that he re-upped for 47 months in a VIP over there on YouTube. Says, thanks for doing great things. Thanks so much for the double support, man. That's so nice. It's very, very kind. With all the great games coming out, I wouldn't use the word annoying. Take your time. Avoid making Starfield. Wait, what are you talking about with annoying? I was talking about GTA 6 being annoying. I wouldn't be annoyed if Fable got delayed. I'd be like, yo, take your time. You guys really look like you grabbed a hold of the Fable identity and you made it, because everybody that's a Fable fan, with the exception of the morality thing, they're over the moon. They're like, this is exactly what I was hoping this game would be. I saw nothing but praise from people, and I'm sitting here saying, that's all well and good. I see all the hallmarks of a game that is not ready. We have been here before. I know what these red flags look and smell like. I know what they look and smell like. This is not my first rodeo. We could tell it was a problem in Starfield. We could tell it was a problem in Redfall. We could tell it was a problem in Avowed. Like, this is not our first rodeo with an Xbox studio. And I don't think it's the studios. I think Xbox starts to crack the whip, and they're like, we need something. Get something ready. What the frick are you doing? Get the game. Very corporate. And the devs are like, man, we're not ready. The praise feels forced? I didn't feel like the praise felt forced. Yo, Rissick, I know what you're doing. He bumps the line to 355. He's tempting somebody to do the 20 bomb. Y'all, if this gets close enough to like the 450 range, Rissick said he'll drop a 50 bomb. He's thrown the gauntlet down. Nick says, GTA 6 comes out this year. I don't think we will see a new IP from Rockstar Games for like 8 or 9 years, so the future may actually look like this. Oh, he's just making predictions. If you have 1,000 NPCs and they all have unique days, why didn't they show us like 5 minutes of you following one? The only reason not showing us is because it isn't working right. No excuses, just results. That's right. Rissick pokes the line one more time with a gifted and gets us to 356. Thank you so much, Rissick. South of Midnight let me down. South of Midnight was fine except for the combat. I thought the combat wasn't... I didn't think the combat landed all that well. I was kind of hoping that when they brought it to PlayStation, they were going to give it like a quality pass. Yo, Destruction. What's good, Lazaro? 32 months. He says, as a PlayStation guy, I've always wanted to play Fable. I'm still interested, but I will wait until release. I was a day one before the trailer. Thank you so much. And a gifted comes in from DK Bager and pumps the line to 358. Thank you so much. It's 30-22. Twitch still in the lead in the daily contest. I need to start rewarding whoever wins, like, the whole week with something, you know what I mean? Like an IRL stream to the platform that wins. Make you guys actually feel a sense of reward for winning instead of just bragging rights, you know? You guys seem to like those IRL streams. I've never played Fable, so I don't care about it. The reason that I have been pretty passionate about this is I think, number one, I think it's a great piece of property. I think it's an IP that people remember and people like for particular reasons. It's been a long time since the last one came out. It's been like 16 years. So a 2026 Fable, to me, that sounds great. It's like all those systems and then also being like more modern, more open world. This is why when people are dismissive and they're like, combat doesn't matter, that's just how Fable is. I'm like, homie, it's been 16 years. Why don't you ask for some excellence? Like, why settle for something that's like doesn't look polished or ready? Like, why would we do that? The final boss of Fable 3 still freaks me out to this day, says Darth Lumberg. So, I was very, very much like, man, I'm interested in this game. It looks like it could be excellent, especially that werewolf fight that they showed us last year. Never played the original. I played Fable 3. Yeah, I didn't play the originals, no. I told you guys, I was a Call of Duty guy. I was always in Call of Duty with my buddies. This is off topic, but I only asked because I was reminded by email just now. Are you aware or interested in the Nemo game? I'm interested because it looks like another Pokemon. I've not seen it. Or if I have seen it, I don't recognize the name. 6 months ago, 30 minutes of gameplay here. Looks kind of like Fortnite and Pal World. Spit out something. Yeah, probably not my jam, yo. Like, you know, this isn't really my jam. It's, yeah, it looks fine, but not something I would probably play. I never played Fable either, says BNE. I'm sure I did own one of them, but I never really played, really. Talika says, the NPCs in Fable have always been voice acted. Fable 1 and 2 didn't have voice acted main characters, though. That came in Fable 3. It's like the new MiHoYo Pokemon ripoff. Forza sales will be hurt by GTA 6 and PS5. Why play Forza when GTA 6 is the better open world racing game plus much more? First and foremost, Forza's got a great head start. It comes out in May. So I don't think GTA is a problem there. Secondly, I really don't think anybody is thinking that. I mean, you are, but I don't think a lot of customers are thinking, I'm not going to get Forza Horizon 6 as a breathtaking, high-fidelity, amazing-looking open-world racing game because GTA 6 is coming. Like, keyword PS5? Homie. Okay, hang on just a second. You need to do some digging here and some checking. Forza Horizon 5 did stupidly good on PlayStation, and it was, what, 4 years old when it came to PlayStation? Brother, you put Forza Horizon 6 in front of that PlayStation crowd, you put that trailer up there, it's going to sell like crazy. I mean, yeah. It's gonna be just fine. Forza's gonna put the nail in the coffin for GT7. No, that's equally as silly to think. No, they're completely different, and they're both big and successful. That's not a thing. No. A coffin? There is no coffin for GT7. It's like one of the most successful and most profitable franchises that PlayStation owns. There is no coffin, brother. Some of y'all are getting a little crazy. Some of y'all are getting a little crazy on Friday, okay? Y'all are getting a little crazy on me. GT7 is doing just fine. I mean, in fact, you could argue it's doing incredibly well. Forza's going to do, I think, incredibly well on PlayStation. Eugene says people just bought 5. I don't know if they'll jump on 6. I think there's going to be enough time past Eugene. When did Forza come to PlayStation? When did it come? Forza Horizon 5 PlayStation release date. When was it? Homie, it was April of last year. Brother, come on. It's been an entire year. What are we talking about here? That was a smart play by Xbox. Credit where credit's due. They brought that sucker over. It sold like crazy. You better believe these dudes are going to be chomping to buy the next one. Come on. A year later, I think that's a crowd that's totally fine with buying an annual release of a game that's that quality. I don't know if you saw the same trailer I did, man. Forza looked ridiculous. It looked really good. That long ago? Yeah, it maybe it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, Eugene, because like the sales reports came out recently. But yeah, it was April of last year. I think that's plenty of time. I think people are going to swarm this thing on PlayStation. GT7 having 2 million monthly active users and growing while Forza's on PlayStation. What a funeral. Yeah, I think y'all need to slow down with both claims. GTA 6 is not a problem for Forza Horizon 6, like, at all. And because they're launching so far apart, and they're very different games. And I don't think Gran Turismo 7 is like, I don't know, even remotely in jeopardy. Like, Gran Turismo 7 is doing so well after it launched. Like, when did it come out? Like 4 years ago? It'll be over a year by that point. It's not going to release on the same day. Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, it was April, and this one's May. It's like a 2-week difference. But yeah, it's going to be, 2 weeks past a year. Because it was like April 29th or something. They added so much to create races and tracks. It's going to be a big draw. Yeah. Horizon 6 will be a big moneymaker for Xbox this year. It will. Yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. And good. Good for them. Here we go. Let's turn this on. There we go. We got a channel skin for Shelter Fortnite trailer. Oh, there's something going on in Fortnite called Shelter, so we may get front page treatment today. That would be pretty nice. It's a great opportunity if we do get front page treatment for you guys to go a little crazy. Show people how generous and kind we are. It's not like COD that dumps the same game every year. PlayStation's getting a quality new game a year later. Oh, for sure, yeah. The team that works on Forza Horizon, it'll be... Forza Horizon 6 will likely win a bunch of awards this year, I would imagine. It'll get a bunch of nominations. It'll probably walk away with a couple of awards. It's that kind of game. It's just a top-shelf game. Forza Horizon 5, I still think is probably your best game this gen for Xbox. I think it's your strongest showing of, what the Series X could have been. Unfortunately, just didn't really. It just didn't. I just don't feel like Series X ever really got its legs. Unfortunately, it's like a really, really fast horse that they just kept in the barn. It's unfortunate, but Forza Horizon 5, I've always felt like was like your best showcase of that, Xbox this gen. It's a great looking game, and I think 6 will be even better. I think it'll be even better because they're going to be able to only focus on, the upper levels of power on the various devices. I think it's going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced as well, too. So PS5 Pro, according to Circana, however you say it, is like on pace with PS4 Pro. It basically caught up. It was behind, and I think it caught up. Forza 6 is releasing on PS5 around the same time as GTA 6, which is going to hurt it. No, I feel like you're either not listening or you just have all this stuff pre-typed. Brother, the month of May and the month of November are not around the same time. Not even by the stretch of imagination could you say those are around the same time. I think you've really got your wires crossed here. Forza Horizon 6 is coming out on May the 19th. GTA 6 is slated for November. That's not close together at all. There is literally half a year between them. 6 months. I feel like this is awkward to even have to say to correct you on. This is awkward. Do you on PlayStation? Oh my gosh. He's talking about the specific PlayStation release. I was like, what are you talking about? He's talking about specific sales on PlayStation will be hurt because Forza's not coming day and date. I was like, what the frick are you talking about? They're so far apart. What? Okay. I thought he was like, the sales aren't going to do well. Okay, so he's saying it's going to be hurt by GTA 6 when it finally comes out. There's the possibility that that's true, but that would only be if they are coming out around the same time. Do we even know that? Do we know it? Can you read? I was reading quickly. That's my bad. That's my fault. I thought you were just talking about the release in general. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? GTA 6 is so far away. We don't know when it's coming to PS5, brother. So it could come first quarter next year. It could come in October. This is true. Welcome to Earth. That's my bad. I do that all the time. I read chat quickly and I try to respond quickly. And I made a mistake. In my mind, you're right. If they drop Forza Horizon 6 in November, then sure, you're right. But you're speaking as if we know and we don't know. Apparently the devs commented saying late 2026. He can't read. It's an ongoing issue. Yeah. Being an illiterate streamer is really difficult. I would really appreciate it if you guys would not make fun of me about it, you know. It's personal. You know, it's a personal issue. Anyways, okay. Now we're all caught up. I was like, what the frick is this guy talking about? If it lands in November, I agree with you, but that has nothing to do with like Forza. Here's where I don't agree with you. This is where I really tripped up. You said that like GTA 6 was going to be a better open world racer. That's not what GTA 6 is going to be, my friend. Like, if you're wanting an open world racer, if you're wanting a game that like centers around like the cars and like the graphics, nobody's cross-shopping those games and thinking, yeah, but GTA 6 is a better game. GTA 6 is the moon. It's going to cause an eclipse. It has nothing to do with like GTA being a better racer, right? I think you could make a better argument. I'm going to make your argument better, and then you can go around and do this if you want. You can use this and claim it as your own. You could say, if they're so bold as to think that Forza Horizon 6 can land in the proximity of GTA 6 and do well, that's not, it will not. It'll have diminished sales. Anything that lands close to GTA 6 is going to have diminished sales. It's going to blot out the sun. Then we will fight in the shade. Like, there's no fighting in the shade here. You're this, it's freaking GTA 6. Like, so I agree with that. What you said is what threw me off. I was like, what the huh? Like, GTA 6 is open world racer. What? Forza Horizon is like, that's what they do. GTA is going to be like all sorts of different things that you can do. And I don't think anybody's buying GTA 6 to be like, I don't need that Forza, man. I got GTA. Does that make sense? I think that's why I was just very dismissive of what you were saying, because I thought your premise was just so faulty. I was like, I don't think these two are, you know, in contention in that way. You are correct to say, if you launch at the same time as GTA, same area, you're going to get a lot less attention. I think that's a more fair thing to say. I don't think anybody would disagree with you saying that. I don't disagree with the racing part, but I do think anything releasing close to GTA 6 on PS5 will be hurt by that decision. Yes, I think we all agree with that. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. I think everybody's going to say, well, yes, of course, GTA 6 is going to be a huge, huge distraction from anything else coming out around the same time. Racing and open world driving is a huge selling point of the GTA games. Okay, correct. That's not why people buy Forza, though. They don't buy Forza so they can, like, do stuff that you can do in GTA. They buy it specifically for what it offers. It's like owning its core competency. Does that make sense? It's like, That's quite literally what this game is about. The locales, the cars, the graphics, the racing. If you're wanting to have that, GTA is going to feel that's going to feel very secondary in GTA. I don't feel like that's going to be like the primary core competency of GTA is like, oh, yeah, but the realism, the graphics, the cars, and the locales. It's one location, open world, and this has got specific tracks and specific places, and it's all been curated around racing. Do you see the difference? Like, I don't think people are going to necessarily think that. I think, again, the better point is just to say anything close to GTA 6 is in trouble because it's just so big. People shift their release calendars around this dadgum game. They know what's coming. Yeah, I think Wolverine is late September, early October. Yeah. Horizon 3 will be shadow drop when they release GTA 6. That's a good. I appreciate that joke. There's a lot of thought that went into that joke, and I liked it. I appreciate that. Guys, really quickly, if you're watching on YouTube, man, that's a lot of likes. Get us to 200 likes. I appreciate it so much. If you guys are tuning in for the day, we've been talking an awful lot about the Developer Direct. I spent a good bit of time talking about why I feel there's an awful lot of red flags inside of Fable. It's not the game. It's more the presentation that has me worried. And, you know, truth be told, I am working on a video, but I want it to be well made. I didn't want it to feel like some like off-the-cuff hit piece. As I was recording it last night, it just wasn't landing. I didn't like what I was coming up with. I want to put more thought into it. I really want to make it clear. There's a dividing line here. Game sounds great. Presentation and packaging looks like it's not ready. The red flags are not about the games necessarily like its quality. The red flags are about like, man, you guys have got a ways to go still. I would delay this if you need to. And I think the fans would be okay with that. After what they showed, I think they've won a lot of goodwill with the fans. It's like, yeah, you guys are building a great Fable. And if you need more time, take it. One game I'm not worried about is Wolverine. I have concerns about Wolverine. Yeah. I worry about combat. That's the main thing. I think story, voice acting, and all of that, I think they'll nail. Graphics, all of it. I think how it feels and how you move, I think will be fine. I worry that combat's going to get really, really repetitive. I'm curious how they're going to handle that. Yeah. With Spidey, you sort of grow in what you're able to do. So by the end, you're doing like 18 different things in a fight compared to like early, you know. Ragnarok, Forbidden West, right? Your arsenal kind of grows, variety grows with it. I worry that like 16 hours into Wolverine, I'm gonna be like getting a little tired of the combat. I trust Insomniac to make it great. That's just my one lingering concern. I'm like, are we really gonna want to be doing that for extended periods of time? You know, the way you spice it up in Batman is with stealth and gadgets. His beat 'em up sections are really fun though. I mean, so that is good pushback. Somebody can be like, look, man, Arkham Knight, you loved the beat-em-ups from beginning to end. That's true. That's true. They also spiced up his combat as you went, though. Like, you could grab things and do different things with, like, counters and parries and using your cape and stuff. So that's really the only concern I have. I trust Insomniac to do good work. I'm just like, I don't know if this... how can you keep my attention with this combat, you know, for the long haul? Spider-Man has a ton of space for combat with gadgets and his natural abilities. Yeah, Wolvie just doesn't have that. Wolvie's got claws, speed, and brutality. So, you can use a sword in Wolverine. I'm sorry, what did you say? What did you say? What did you say? How do you know that? Who said that? A sword? Does it... Can I parry? I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, can I parry? Like, do we know? Is this true? Who said there was a sword in Wolverine? What are you talking about? Like, people know how to tantalize me, like jingling, you know, it's like a laser pointer with a cat. You know, I'm like, huh? What? Sword? Parry? Co-op? What? It's like, you want to distract Lono, say parry, say co-op, put a sword in it. You know me too well. Giving Wolverine a sword is like giving Iron Man a gun. Leaks? Maybe. He has a retractable sword like his claws. It comes out of his butt in the comics? Huh? Thank you for a 3-stream streak, Mr. Zach Quartz. Appreciate it. You can probably parry with the claws. Hopefully. Hopefully. I hope there's no sword. Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope, that there's no sword. That seems a little weird. I've skimmed a few articles that discuss Fable after the Direct. None of them mention if it's targeting 60 FPS. I'm worried we may be looking at a 30 FPS title and how it explains some of the hiccups. Unless I'm overlooking something they said during the Direct that states 60 FPS is the target. Have we had... This is a very important question. Have we had a first-party Xbox game release where you could play 60 on the X but not on the S? I don't think they've allowed that yet. I think those updates always come later. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm driving at? Like, have they yet released their studios from that? I felt like that was like a rule that they had. Like, no, you're not releasing something that's 60 on the X and 30 on the S. I feel like that was like the standard. And that's why you had like Starfield and Hellblade and Redfall all launch at 30 and then 60 comes later. I felt like that was like literally like a first party studio rule that they had. They wanted parity on performance at launch, which is its own breed of stupid, but it's there. You know, all the people that bought Series X's are like, why would you do that? I think that's a very fair question, but we don't have proof. I just think that was the observation that we all made. It was like, why else would you be releasing these games at 30 and then giving them 60 later? Unless, of course, that was what the goal was. Like, we want performance parity between our boxes with our first-party property when it comes out. If that's the case, we're in a really, really piece of new territory because Fable's coming to PlayStation 5. And I tell you what, the PlayStation fans ain't going to be too keen on is a 30 FPS game. We know this to be true. Gotham Knights tried to keep it quiet. Something comes out at 30 and it doesn't go well. It's bad press for the game. It's a big turnoff. I don't know. That's new territory. They dropped that game at 30 and you're booting it up on your PS5 Pro and you're like, I'm sorry, what? This is a 30 FPS game? I don't know about that. I got tired of people defending 30 FPS in the past. At this point, you'd have to be crazy to defend 30 FPS. That ship hasn't just sailed. It went out and sunk. Nobody wants to defend 30 FPS anymore. Too many games got the updates later. That makes it so hard to defend. How do you defend 30 FPS when, like, every game that you defended ended up getting 60 anyway? Like, that just, I don't know. I think the delayed input video summarized the Xbox Direct pretty well. It smelled like Microsoft. I don't know. The Double Fine didn't feel like a Microsoft thing. I don't know. Old Fable games were 30, so it's fine, Patrick. I swear to frick, I will find you, sir. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember when the 30 FPS debates were happening and people were always like, what's the big deal? We played 30 FPS the entire time last gen. I'm like, get out. Leave. Don't come back. What's the big deal? What do you mean, what's the big deal? They literally sold this gen on 60 FPS. It was like one of the biggest things they focused on. Well, I don't understand what the problem is. Jiminy Christmas, that was frustrating. Oh, it made me nuts. Easy Tone says, it was a pretty good show. I just have doubts that Fable will deliver on all its systems. I think it's fair that people are a little concerned that, like, the morality system's going to be pretty muted. And it could be. It could quite literally be that, like, people just like you or don't like you, and there's not much of it beyond that. It did sound like, though, that there were long-tail impact decisions that you could make. Kill the giant, don't kill the giant, as an example. If there's a lot of that, then I don't know. I feel like people will enjoy it. Because I think they were doing an interview where they said, there will be people that just straight up play through the campaign and have a great time. He said, then there are people that are going to be like architects. They're going to go in and they're going to test everything to see what they can do and what they can come up with. And they said that, you know, they really look forward to people doing that. Okay. Sorry, kiddo. This morning? It happens sometimes, kid. I can't do anything for her. When you got it, she is my wife, but I can't do anything for her for a migraine, kiddo. I can't. When you get a migraine, you just got to wait it out. She just needs quiet and a dark room. So, y'all just need to leave her be. Okay? All right. Hang on. My chat got all jacked up. Okay, there we go. Having no character change from morality means it's not even Fable anymore, says Siriu. That was the original core concept of the game. You can tell how many, like, big-time Fable fans there are that are focusing on that, because they're really zeroing in on it. They really are. I mean, that wasn't something, you know... Sorry, she's going through a migraine. That stuff sucks. She almost never gets them. She hasn't had one in a really long time. She woke up this morning. She kept waking up last night, and I told the kiddos, I was like, just leave her be. There's nothing you can do. You just got to wait it out. So she's got like this, you know, mask she can put on that like does like music and it like massages your face. That helps, but it's not. It sounds like it's not making a dent. So. Worst ones are the ones you wake up with? Yeah. Madam's made out of steel, so she'll probably be fine. She probably won't be fine until, I would imagine, best case scenario, she'll be fine around dinner, which I'll probably have to take care of, which is fine. It's sweet that your kids think you can fix anything, though. Isn't she your wife? Fix it? Yeah. They're still at that stage. Everything comes to me, you know, broken anything. Toys, books. Papa can fix it. So, I do my best. I just take Excedrin migraine. She's got something she takes when she gets them. She's just going to have to wait it out. I think she probably already took it. GG says, massive Fable fan. While the character change based on morality not being in the game is a disappointment, the fact seems that they are aging it up and making choices more impactful is a welcome change. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that. Like, you start out as a kid, and this is where Maddie was like, oh, it really sounded like they were going to do the thing of like, are you going to become a villain? Are you going to become a good guy after your parents and your family or whatever die, your grandparents? And I think his sort of like a little deflated feeling he seemed like was like, it really doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It seems like morality is going to just sort of be this thing that's there, but not necessarily as impactful as like maybe people wanted. Which I could kind of feel him and others bummed about that. Like, I'm not really going to be able to like set the trajectory of my character to become villainous or to become the hero. It's going to be sort of gray. And he even said before the game had its deep dive, he was really hoping they weren't going to do that. Right? So you could kind of feel the disappointment. But I would have liked to have seen more examples of like, how old can you get? how far can some of these long tail things have happened? Like, okay, you kill the giant and it hurts property value for the rest of the game in that town. Does every town kind of have an A-B state? Do they all have that? Like, you go into this town and there's some riffraff that you can run out of town or not, and then that affects that town for, the rest of the day, right? Yo, what's good, player? All right, take it easy. Is every town just going to kind of have that A-B choice where, oh, yeah, you got rid of the riffraff and business is doing better, but now these guys are looking for you. Every time you come back into town, they try to find you to fight you or something. You see what I'm saying? I'm just using a very simple example, but like, is every town going to have that giant, kill the giant or don't choice? And then the difference is certainly far-reaching, but if that's all it really does, I could see people that feel like that seems kind of like not that deep. Like, yeah, that's great. You killed the giant, and now the property value's messed up for the rest of the game in that town. What are the other sort of long tail things like that? And again, what's it look like when your character gets older? I think these are completely legitimate questions from people that like have that view where like they, they're hoping to have that classic Fable experience. I wanted to see more of the combat completely uncut, as well as just open world gameplay. We did not get that at all. Again, to me, this is a great flyover. They did a deep dive with information in the systems and stuff, but it didn't feel like a deep dive into actual gameplay. It felt like the gameplay was very much a quick look, like everything was 20 seconds or less. And this again, I just keep coming back to, this felt like something you would show when the game's coming out in 18 to 24 months, year and a half to 2 years. It doesn't feel like something that's coming out in 8 months. I just keep coming back to that. It's not that I think the game is going to be bad. That's not like, I'm not hating, which is what, people kept trying to tell me on Twitter. I was like, I'm not hating. This just doesn't feel at all like a showcase of a game that's right around the corner. Is your character even aged? They didn't say that. It's almost like you're a kid and then you're an adult. Again, is there going to be age states? I don't know. Is there going to be, like, you can get married and have kids, and you can get divorced. That, again, do you read these? Yes, I do. I read both, what's going on Purple and YouTube. So these are things that they could address at a later time in a blog post. They could do another gameplay thing. There's plenty of opportunities for them to say more. That's the thing I'm just going to keep asking for. Between now and the release date, I'm like, I want to see uncut gameplay. I want to see a big, long sequence of combat where I kind of get a feel of... Instead of just showing me, here's a spell, here's a sword, here's a hammer, just show me like a whole sequence of a fight, beginning to end. And then also, I want to see that open world. You can have multiple wives. You can. Them talking about the protag's cool origin while showing none of it. Just a clip of a kid running was so dang funny. Is anyone else bothered that they kind of gave a whole side quest away? What side quest are you talking about? That was a bad spoiler? What side quest? Are you talking about the guy the giant? Yo, what's good, Khaled? How are you? I don't think that's that big of a deal. I get where you're coming from. Where else are you streaming? YouTube. Are you on Discord? We have a Discord as well. Yeah. You made your account today, and you made your account today. So I'll leave you guys to it. Coming at the same time, asking those kind of questions. Nice knowing you. Ever seen a Hideo trailer? I was really critical of what Hideo Kojima did with Death Stranding 2. Extremely critical. like, showed significant story moments. And I'm like, what are you doing? The Giant, they've done an entire trailer about. Yeah, they did a whole cinematic trailer years ago where they showed that you were gonna fight that guy. Yeah. Welcome in. Now GTFO. Yeah, I have 70 viewers on Purple. I'm sure 2 people with brand new accounts just happened to find my channel at the exact same time. Yeah, Sounds like the Giant was one of the first scenarios in the game. It's fine to spoil that. I agree with you. Easy Tone. I don't feel like there's any major issue there at all with that. It's like, it's a very early game side quest. The OA says, the presentation was very similar to the Wolverine one. If that was the presentation Logan got from Sony before the launch date, people would be very vocal about it. Fable needs a deep dive showcase. That's what this was. That's what they called this. The English O. That's what they called this. This was the deep dive. That's why I felt, I don't know. My spidey sense was tingling the whole time. I was like, when are you really going to let me see this thing breathe? I don't know. I kept coming back to the same thing. I was like, something's not right here. Yo, I am Melee with a Prime, 28 months, bumps the line on Purple. It's now 32 to 22. I'm sorry, 31 to 22. And a VIP from I Am Melee on YouTube gets us to 360. We are 15 away from the next milestone, guys. I'll owe you a member. YouTube, if you win that one, I owe you a 5-bomb, by the way. Risick has said he'll drop a 50-bomb if we get close. The goal of 500 on the week. Madam and I now stream on Saturdays. Probably a good thing that we did that. Although, with the incoming weather, I'll obviously do my best to keep y'all posted. It looks like it's going to pull a little bit south of us. So, some analysis of the footage suggests choppy animations, leading to questions about the final polished frame rate. The game is built on the Forza Tech engine. And a 10-bomb from my man Ginger Prime. Boys, there he is, the man himself. He puts YouTube in the lead. 8-Bit Dad with 39 months. Thank you so much for doing that, 8-Bit Dad. We are now really close to the next milestone, and it's almost a tie. You need to do a reaction to delayed input. It's spot on. I don't like reacting to stuff that's so new. I really like him, too. I don't want to react to his video if it's that new. I don't like doing that. I like to let somebody's video kind of live in the algo for at least 24 hours. Be fine as long as you don't get a lot of ice. Yeah, the worst part's pulling south. It's going to just annihilate Tennessee. We're going to, what looks like, Lord willing, we're gonna get a little lucky on it. A 5-bomb from Siege Master. That is going to push us there. I owe you guys a 5-bomb now. Thank you so much. Watch his last video. Let me push that one. I owe you guys a 5-bomb now on YouTube. Let me do that now. But if he reacted to the developer direct, it can't be older than 24 hours. That's not possible, unless he's a time traveler. All right, here comes a 5 that I owe you guys. Metal Matt spamming that farty bomb, hoping to manifest it. Rissick's going to do it if you guys get us close enough, he said. So we've got a gauntlet thrown down, boys. I hope it doesn't hit Maryland. Let's do the time warp again. Yeah, let's do the time warp again. Yeah, I don't like reacting to people's content. I really don't like reacting to people's content. Uh. Hmm. 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 Lurks. His take was mainly on how the showcase was structured and how it felt, not about the games itself. Yeah. Again, I just don't like pulling up somebody's video when it hasn't been on the platform for 24 hours. I don't. If Playground gets Fable ironed out, how awesome would it be if they made a Transformers game next? Yeah, because they could bring, I mean, they could have the cars, they could have the combat, they could have it all. Yeah, maybe. I'm not super confident in this engine's ability to create like a really good fluid combat system. They haven't convinced me it's good for that yet. Watch his last video. Why do you guys want me to watch his video so badly? Like what? I don't understand. I wouldn't mind seeing Playground take a crack at the Anthem type game. Yeah, again, you know, those guys built like a home-built system for combat and flying, and they did it all in an engine that it didn't exist before. So it certainly can happen. It certainly can happen. But what they showed yesterday, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't see a fluid, fast, responsive combat system. I see a very basic, very janky, very rigid combat system. Doesn't look very good to me. You know? They can convince me that the engine can work well. They can. They can totally convince me the engine can work well with that, as the guys did with Anthem. When the guys did it for Anthem, it was like it was extremely obvious to me that those guys built an amazing system. The flying and the combat was spectacular. Mom said it was my turn to post Marathon's rank on the global top 10 sellers Steam chart. Marathon, it's in 50th. Behind G-Mini Christmas. It's hanging out down there with games that are years old. Yeah. We'll see. You see the theory on why Marathon reached number 10 on Steam and then dropped to 94? Destiny players pre-ordered, got the bonus items, and then canceled. It's even showing up in the Destiny as an expansion. Wait, so how is that a theory? Like, it wouldn't drop because they're canceling. Wouldn't it drop because people aren't doing it anymore? Or is it literally work on a continuum where once they cancel and refund, does it drop it because it's viewed as like a negative on the revenue tracking? Yo, what's good, Dan? How are you? Anthem is such a sad story. It really is. Can you imagine if that was the game they knew they were going to build from the very beginning, and if they would have worked on it for 4 or 5 years instead of like what they built was like 18 months of work. It was like nothing. Okay, so the question would be then, that would make sense why it climbed on PlayStation, because there's a huge Destiny community on PlayStation, but can you cancel pre-orders on PlayStation just as easily? I don't know if you can. I don't know. Do we have concrete evidence that people are doing that they're refunding on Steam? The pre-order items are pure trash. You'd be an Anthem streamer right now if that was the case. I mean, maybe. But that's how that community kind of operates, though, man. They want everything. They don't want to miss out on a single piece. They don't want to miss out on a single piece, dude. They will instantly pre-order something if they feel like they can get like a cool new special item or an item that's only going to be around for so long, you know? You can cancel pre-orders on PSN easy. Sad about Anthem. I really thought it could be something great if they didn't quit. There was just no money in it. I think that was the biggest problem. They were basically going to have to get the funding for essentially what amounted to a sequel. And it just was never going to generate enough revenue to justify it, which is really unfortunate. PlayStation is unit-based and only contains pre-order. What do you mean unit-based? PlayStation is unit-based and only contains pre-orders. It's a $40 game. I don't know how they rank it. All I know is folks really were quick to celebrate that Steam ranking, and it didn't last. And whether it's because people are canceling because they wanted Destiny pre-orders, or whether it's because it slowed down really quickly because people were just early adopting and then they were done. Not revenue-based. So if it's unit-based and not revenue-based, I don't know. Unit sales, not revenue. So that would mean if people are canceling, would it cannot count against it? Did you see Destin's interview with the Anthem dev? No. No, I did not. The Steam chart's all sales. It's not pre-order only chart. Yeah, it's anything that anybody is spending money in, for sure. So if you're not actively sitting there generating revenue, then you're going to fall. But we've seen games climb and hold on that chart before. It's not something any one should be looking at. People were. They were throwing confetti in the air, you know? They were primed and ready to celebrate it. And I thought it was weird. Where is that thing that tracks the, here it is. All right. One of the Anthem devs dropped a 4-hour video explaining what happened. Yes, I did not watch that. What's with Marathon's voice cast? Is it a troll on Arc Raiders AI voices, getting the best in the business to do generic action lines? I would think it's really, really on brand for Bungie to use high-level voice acting cast. I don't think it has anything to do with Arc Raiders. Do you see? Like, I don't think they're out here like, we better spend some money, and you know, Arc Raiders got in trouble for using. They didn't even really get in trouble, right? But like, Arc Raiders is using AI voices or whatever. I don't think that's what they did. I think it's just very on brand for Bungie to get really, really high level voice work. Destiny went from 100 to 35, so when Marathon was listed as a Destiny expansion, maybe it was counting Destiny revenue? No, I don't think so. It still has 2 editions in the top 5 of the PSN store. I keep coming back to the same thing. Bellular did a video the other day where he said there was a study that talked about the number of times marketing and footage needs to be viewed by somebody in order for them to buy your game. And there is just a marked diminished interest in Marathon when you go to their channel. The original announced trailer had absurd views. We don't necessarily need to count that, but it was like 22 million. These little updates didn't do much viewership. Okay, gameplay reveal over 1 million, gameplay overview over 1 million, the cinematic trailer 2 million. Everything after that has fallen significantly. Like, the vid doc that really started to change people's minds has 500,000 views. That's diminished interest. So if you're like, oh, it's changing people's minds, yeah, a fraction of the people that were originally watching and paying attention aren't anymore, and then it drops even further. The runner insights, like this video for many people was a significant video. It's 9 minutes. It's a week old. It can't even crack 250,000. Now, the pre-order trailer cracks 250,000. Some of that's helped by length. It's only 2 minutes. Shorter videos tend to do that. I'm telling you, from where I sit, interest in the game has diminished. That's not a good sign for a live service game. You can go to Arc Raiders' YouTube channel, and the opposite happened. The more they released, talked, and let people play, interest climbed. Their videos performed better. And then look at what the result was. You want a strong launch for your game, that's kind of what you want to see. The public response needs to be going in an upward trajectory, not a measurable, visible downward trajectory. Now, the pushback would be, well, they'll get enough players on console. They'll have some small dedicated community that'll keep it going. I don't think we've heard anything that would indicate that that's what they're hoping for. I really don't. I really don't think that that's what they're hoping for. I don't think Bungie is like, yeah, we did all this work and we've been working on this for 6 to 7 years or more. And we really, really hope that, you know, it gets like a small core, hardcore community. I don't think Bungie's hoping for that. I think they need this thing to do really well. I mean, wasn't it Mr. Forbes himself that said it needs to do like incredibly well for it to be seen as a success? That's somebody who consistently has inside scoop, inside info, sources at Bungie. And he was like, it needs to do incredibly well. You read blogs, you don't watch videos. You're not the general buying public, Eugene. That's as clear as crystal. We know you are not the general buying public. The way you interact with games and media, come on. Look at Arc Raiders as a barometer. If you look at the rising interest in their videos, that's a sign of public interest going up, and then the game is a roaring success. We've seen this before. We've seen a game come out. It doesn't have a good reception. Interest is diminished quickly, and then the game doesn't go anywhere. That's the trajectory that Marathon is on right now. And people were quick to pull up Steam charts, but then, then Steam charts don't matter. And also they'll cling to the PlayStation pre-order charts. Okay. There's so many breadcrumbs here that are leading to the conclusion I'm coming to. There's an awful lot of breadcrumbs here to be like, this game's not going to have enough interest to make it. Not in the way that they need it to. The Bungie community has been conditioned over the years to read blogs. Yeah, all right. Sure. Single gifted comes in from Stonespire. Yeah. What about the rest of the gaming world? Is this game going to live off the Bungie community? The community, by the way, that for 10 years preferred PvE in Destiny over PvP? You're not making a better case for the game. Yeah, the Bungie community, the one that's been playing a decade of Destiny and primarily lived in PvE and not PvP, are going to flock to this game and are all reading the blogs and are super informed and interested. Like, come on, dude. What are we even saying? And a gifted comes in from Stonespire, and another gifted comes in from Stonespire, and then Joker Quinn gets it to 380. Stonespire's trying to bait that 20 bomb to 400. 400 Destiny creators would argue that's just not true. Zubair says they've been conditioned to watch videos of Astrocross reading blogs. Thank you. There's an entire ethos of creators making bank reading blogs. Like, homie, I did this for 5 years, man. Like, you can make really, really good money and get a really good following in that community by just making sure that the community can come to you when something happens. So even if I were to grant your point and your premise that, like, oh, the game will be just fine, the Bungie community's conditioned to read blogs, homie, for over a decade, the Bungie community has primarily played PvE in Destiny, not PvP. So if they're hoping that, like, that community is going to come and sustain this game, the propensity within the community would say, no, no shot. And I really don't think that's what their goal is. I think they want this to be a more broadly played game than just like the Bungie community. Are you sure about that? Am I sure about what, Stefan? I'm not sure what you're asking about. See my last? All right, hang on a second. People said trials carry Destiny. If anyone would have the data to disprove that, you'd think it would be Bungie, and they'd know better than to lean into the tryhards. Yeah, the info and the data always came out on that community. It was always like 70% of the community spent their time in PvE, and then 30% was in PvP. It was always a very large majority that lived in PvE, always. It's why the content leaned to PvE. It's why new content always was more heavily focused on that. Is why over the years PvP got less and less stuff, because that's not what paid the bills. That's not what bred the butter. It's not. They know it. I don't see Marathon being successful. I think the active player count on Steam will drop below 100,000 within 1 to 3 months. That's what I was saying. If we get a month or two out and they can't even pull 100,000 concurrent peaks in a day, that's not good for a company their size or a game like this. They need this game to do well. Bread the butter emote when. I can make that a stretch goal. Yeah. We got to get Madam unlocked, and then we can work on bread the butter. Because we can't unlock emotes anymore. So, I can make it to where you can unlock emotes that way. Hope the bread was intentional. It was from a couple of days ago. I went on a big rant about this, and I misspoke. Instead of saying buttered the bread, I said bread the butter. If you're not breading your butter, you're doing it wrong, y'all. Come on. Everybody breads their butter. At least where I'm from. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We have been watching live service games try to come out and try to have successful launches since what? Division 1. I feel like I'm pretty well versed in this department. I feel like y'all are too. I'm not the expert. I'm doing the same thing you're doing. We've been watching games try to do this since the Division 1. And boy, is it easy to pick out the ones that don't have the legs, that don't have the momentum, that don't have the consumer inertia. And Marathon, I don't see it. I don't. If you're going to try and tell me, oh, they're changing people's minds, the comments are more positive. Yeah, on videos that are getting a fraction of the viewership that they used to get, meaning you've got your audience that's basically set on the game, paying attention to the game, and everybody else has moved on. And then we look at games that have been successful, and the opposite happened. You didn't see diminished interest, you saw an increase in interest. Bread My Butter says I was behind. Yeah. He made his name Bread My Butter, and he can't change it for like 14 days. Welcome back, Charles Hawk. Whoops, I messed that up. Hang on a minute. What did I do? How do I switch it? There we go. You didn't know you had it in you, Charles Hawk. He renewed and I added 20. There we go. 381. I clicked the wrong button. Speaking of, where's Highguard? I don't know. I really, really don't know. High Guards Monday, y'all. If I manage to keep my power through the weekend because this winter storm coming in, we'll we'll certainly be paying attention to that one. The Arc Raiders videos aren't exactly barn burners. Trailer hit 2 million. Nothing after that came close. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. You're arguing a point that I'm not arguing. We're not talking about the number of views they got. We're talking about the visible trajectory. This one down here is 64,000, is 54,000, 115,000, maybe close to 1 million, a little over 100,000, 400,000, 300,000. All of a sudden, you get a trailer with a release date with over 1 million views, okay? And then they put out Soundscapes. I don't expect this to do well. Pre-order trailer, okay, 600,000. Server Slam, 200. Look what happens after the Server Slam. The launch trailer gets 2 million views. Do you see the trajectory? There's an increase. Every step of the way, your gameplay reveal right around 1 million, release date reveal right around 1 million, your Server Slam happens, and then all of a sudden you have 2 million views. The opposite is happening with Marathon. After that, sure, I'm not talking about these. These are all after the fact. The game has come out. Once the game's come out, people aren't clamoring to YouTube to like watch the videos. It's the runway. The runway to Arc Raiders was like picking up speed. Marathon trips right on itself. Like its shoes are tied together, wham, trips on itself. They debut in alpha, streams don't get great reception. Players are like, what the heck is this? It's basically a minimum viable product. There's stolen artwork. They delay the game. So Server Slam hasn't happened? Sure, but the lead up to the Server Slam, even the lead up to the Server Slam on there was still like maintained interest in the game. And with Marathon, I'm here to tell you, it's going like this, not like this. So Server Slam would be the next significant test, which is what, end of February? So the game's coming out, what's the release date now? March? It's like halfway through March, isn't it? Marathon release date. March 5th. Okay, so they're going to have their open thing like end of February or something. They haven't officially announced the date yet. We don't know the date. So after that happens, we'll see. We'll go and look, and we'll see if there's visible increase of interest in the game. I happen to think they don't have a recipe for that. I don't. That's been my opinion for a while. They have a recipe for a very, very hardcore niche group. They're not going to get broad appeal. Arc Raiders almost instantly had broad appeal. It changed my mind the first time I played it. I was like, wow. They said the opening beta weekend is the weekend before launch. The Server Slam of Arc Raiders was pretty far before the release date, wasn't it? I feel like they were pretty far apart, weren't they? Let's see. Okay, Server Slam launch date. Okay, the Server Slam was October 17th to the 19th. All right. No, it was about the same. It was a 2-week period. So the Server Slam was October the 17th to the 19th, and then 2 weeks later on October the 30th, Arc Raiders released. So it's a very similar window. We'll see if it works, if the same approach and pattern works for them. We'll see. Because their release date trailer, and this is what I've been trying to say, their release date trailer got 1 million views. So all these videos down here lead up to this where they get like an increased interest, okay? That's not what's happening. So even before the Server Slam gets announced and then that one video gets like 2 million views, there's an increase in interest in Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders was like slowly picking up momentum, like a snowball rolling downhill. I feel like Marathon's been the opposite. I feel like it's totally slowed down. So if this playable demo beta weekend, they said in a response to somebody, it was January the 19th, they replied to somebody and said, we'll have an open preview weekend before launch and everyone will be able to try Marathon. There you go. That's, you know, if that changes the, you know, the consumer response and the trajectory of the game and the momentum that it currently, I feel, doesn't have, then I will readily report that and admit that. Right now, I'm telling you, the way I'm looking at this, the way I'm seeing this, I'm like, nah, dude, people have moved on already. Interest is way lower in this game, and it's all because of what they did last year. There have been people that have said this that are fans of the game. If they're like, if they would have come out with this and not done anything last year, the game would be set up to do pretty well. But they drove so many people away from the game. First impressions really, really do matter, especially in a year where big titles are coming out. GTA 6 is coming out. It's not a good time to have that kind of a misstep. You have that kind of a mistake. Like, it's kind of like when you have like a sports team and they have like a good team, but it's a year where there's just insane teams in the running. It's almost like when the Game Awards come around and like it's just so competitive that like a good game just doesn't get any recognition. It just doesn't. A good game just completely gets shoved off the podium because it's so competitive. That's what this year is. That's what last year was. Now is not the time to screw up your first impressions because the calendar is full, and it's full of heavy hitters. You make that kind of a mistake, you make that kind of a misstep, and you're forgotten. People just move on to the next thing. Arc Raiders is playing a role here. We know this is true. People just moved on, like, yeah, Marathon looks like crap. Arc Raiders, ooh, it's like that meme. Somebody said, did you see, somebody's asking about, yeah, Christopher Barrett refiled his lawsuit, yes. He's refiled his lawsuit. I actually was hoping that he would refile his lawsuit. I want it to go to court. I do. I really, really want Bungie to get drugged through discovery. Everything they've ever done and said and all the crap that they've covered up, I want it all drugged into the light. I really, really hope his case goes to court. I do. His goal is to burn them because they burned him. He knows way worse things happened at the company. He's like on the scale of like 1 to 10 of bad, he's like a 7. Maybe an 8. He knows there's some 9s and some 10s that have happened. There has been some bad stuff that went down at that company. And he I think he really thought they would want to avoid discovery and they would settle. I think that's what he was hoping they would do. It's why Twitch settled with Doc. These companies don't want their laundry out there. They don't want it. Right? Purple would have won against Doc, mind you. They had to beat him. They didn't want to go to court because they know what that entails. Everything gets pulled out. Everything. Every email, every meeting, like testimonials from employees, it all gets drug out. And Purple was like, we'll settle. Go away. I think he was hoping Bungie would do the same thing. I think he was hoping, man, these guys are going to clam up. They're going to tighten up. They're not going to want their dirty laundry pulled out, and they're just going to pay me my money and tell me to go away. And Sony said, I think Sony welcomes the lawsuit because I think Sony would love to have grounds to fire a bunch of people and not pay them what they're owed in that final payment. I think they welcome it. They're like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. We'll have grounds to fire people and get rid of them because a bunch of bad stuff has happened. Like when you're a company and you don't have to pay somebody like what Barrett was owed, being able to terminate him, that's great. They save a bunch of money. They save a bunch of money. They love it. He's playing Arc Raiders. Have you seen him? Have a huge community? Yeah. That's not the point. The point is Purple would have beat him in that case. They had grounds to ban. They did. They had easily won. They didn't want to go to court because they knew they were going to go through discovery. I wanted that case to go to court. I did, because Twitch did me wrong, and I wanted it to be seen. I wanted the record to finally be set straight for people to see what went down, not just to me, but in the lead up to what happened to me. There was all kind of shenanigans going on that was completely wrong, and that's why I was like, I really hope that goes to court, because I didn't think he was going to win, especially once we heard everything. Same thing with Barrett. I don't think Barrett's going to win. But there's a whole lot that happens between him not winning and the case starting. There's a lot that happens. So, all I'm seeing on my feed is marathon. Traction is gaining. That's not necessarily an indication. I don't see any of that on my feed. It's all algorithmically driven, man. If you guys have not hit the like button yet on YouTube, do me a favor and do that. I'm going to be on Ginger's podcast in about an hour and a half, so we're going to keep on streaming. We're going to keep on hanging out. He wants a settlement. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's trying to leverage the fact that, like, hey, I have dirty laundry, pay me my money, or everybody's going to see your dirty laundry. And I think Sony's like, no, we're not going to settle. We're happy for that laundry to get drug out into the public. Who's Ginger? Ginger Prime. I've been on his show a couple of times. He's been on my show, I think, in the past a couple of times. He jumped on the mic a while ago, and we had a great conversation. So make sure you guys are there for that. And thank you guys for a strong Friday. I appreciate the turnout. If they settle, they'll go to discovery, though. What? I feel like you wrote that sentence incorrectly. If they settle, it won't go to discovery. Sony fired back. They already fired back. You just have to look at a vid on one subject, and when you go back, you're covered in them. That happened today when I listened to a JRE. A 5-bomb comes in from Jack Garland. Gets us to 386. Thank you so much. Will they go to discovery? No. A settlement usually entails NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, non-disparaging agreements. Everybody goes tight-lipped. They write him a check, and it all goes away. If they were going to do that, I feel like Sony would not. Sony flung it back. She basically disappeared. Well, off of socials, she still does stuff, but it's a very different kind of content. It's like a thing with like flying and stuff. Yeah, if they settle it, it won't go to discovery. And I'm telling you, I think that's what he's pushing for. If you guys didn't see it, so the news of this situation is Christopher Barrett was suing Bungie for wrongful firing, and then Sony fired back and like exposed emails and Teams meetings and stuff. And I mean, he was clearly rightfully fired. What he was doing was completely out of bounds for someone in leadership, right? He liked the word predator in 2020. He actually was one. So he sues for wrongful firing. Well, he filed it in the wrong court. So he was given the option to refile in the appropriate court. So he has refiled, and he wants a jury trial. And he alleged, I think in the initial filing somewhere, he basically alleged that there were far worse things that happened at the company. Like, essentially, it was like, he was essentially saying, a lot of what I did's being misinterpreted. Funny how that works. Anyway, so he's like, a lot of what I did is being misinterpreted, and he's like, there's a lot of things that happened at the company that were way worse. And he was essentially trying, I think, to pressure them to be like, man, just pay me my money, or this is going to court, and everybody's going to see what you've been doing. as a company behind the scenes. A $10 super chat from Neo Reaper. If they were to announce aggression-based matchmaking for Marathon, would that help or hurt knowing what fan base they're trying to attract? I think it's too PvP focused for ABMM to work. Aggression-based matchmaking doesn't work in a game that's like super PvP focused. Do you know what I'm saying? Far worse doesn't justify what he did. That's the worst rationale. If I'm coming from his position, AOZ, his position is, I didn't do anything wrong. I had these jokey, flirty interactions. That's not that big of a deal. He's alleging there was legit bad, awful stuff. And he's like, you're going to fire me over this? You did this to avoid paying me. I think that's his argument. I agree that what he did as a person in a position of leadership was completely wrong. It was predatory and completely out of bounds. That's fireable. You cannot be treating your subordinates that way. You cannot do that. I think he knows that he deserved to be fired, but what I think he's trying to leverage is there's way worse stuff that happens. He's saying, listen, y'all know there was way worse stuff that happened. And if I take you to court, I may lose, but I'm going to take you down with me. That's what I think he's doing. His position changes jokey flirting into something worse. You're precisely correct. I'm just saying that's essentially what his argument is. I don't agree, obviously. I think he got what was coming to him. I think that's what he's hoping to do. He's saying, listen, I know where the bodies are buried. And if this goes to court, it's all getting drug out. We are going to find out all these people that got to walk out with severance packages and clapping that were terrible. Everyone around him is crap. Doesn't say he can continue being crap. Everyone else can be fired too. Let's fire them all. I think that's why Sony is okay with it going to court. Because I think Sony is perfectly fine with having justifiable reasons to clean house at the company. Oh, you were doing this? Gone. You were doing this? Gone. They'll be happy to fire these people. Two devs in a break room making the same jokes are lesser. Not okay, but the boss walking by making the same joke is a totally different thing. For sure. For sure. And again, he was giving them a little bit of a nudge and a wink. You're like, listen, man, I know what happened at this company. If you don't want the public to know about it, well, then let's settle this out of court. Give me some of my money that I'm owed. Even if they pay him half of what he's owed, he'd probably be happy with that. Sony don't freaking care. They'll go to court. He's in a win-win situation. He either gets satisfaction in dragging them down, or he gets a bunch of money. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good opportunity for Sony to clean house as Ginger, just like Disney did with Kang. I'm not familiar with that, but yeah. Yeah. Washington State's an at-will employment state. You don't even need a reason to fire somebody. I think even in an at-will state, you can still allege wrongful firing. You still can. Like, let's say it's an at-will state, and they pull you into the office, and they're like, listen, you're just too old, so we have to fire you. We don't want to keep old people here. Like, you can allege wrongful firing in that. They pull you into the office, and they're like, yeah, we don't want people of your race or religion to work here, so get out. Pack your crap and get out. You could allege wrongful firing. If they pull you into the office and they're like, listen, we just don't think it's working out, you know, you're hitting your sales numbers, but we just feel like there's a vibe situation here. Like, we feel like you kind of bring the vibe of the office down. Was it wrongful firing though? That's what he's alleging. He's alleging that he was fired so they could avoid paying him. You can fire somebody for any reason, except for the illegal reasons. That's right. Is it called ageism? Yeah. Or age discrimination. Yeah, they would make up safe reasons. So what he is going to argue, or what he's going to attempt to argue, is they did this in a way that is civilly actionable. I'm owed money. They did this to avoid paying me. The reasons that they gave me are not real. I wonder what that feels like, right? To have everything taken from you because of stuff that you feel is misunderstood or inaccurate or not real. And then there's an actual paper trail of your behavior that shows that you in fact did those things. You know. He has a contract that overrides at will. Yeah, because if they're going to breach the contract, there has to be legitimate grounds to breach the contract. In similar fashion, I had grounds for breach of contract. I didn't have the money. Like, it's so freaking expensive to sue. Like, it's just ridiculous. Most people, the average person can't afford it. He's incredibly wealthy, so he can. Age discrimination only works for older people. You can totally discriminate against young people. It's called experience requirements. Yes. Which is different. That's a form of credentials. That's not like, you know, you're young and dumb. Get out. Does he even have the argument that he was fired to avoid payment? I think he's probably arguing breach of contract. That would be my assumption. I had a contract. You guys basically you guys terminated the contract, breached contract, and you didn't abide by the terms of the contract is probably what he's alleging. I do have some questions here that were submitted. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet on YouTube, go ahead and do that. Get us to 300 likes. And Joker Quinn says, could Fable be 30 FPS on base consoles? It seems super heavy, just like Dragon's Dogma 2, and look what happened with that game. Yeah, I mean, again, I come back to everything we looked at looks like engine-level trouble to me. It looks like engine-level trouble. It looks like the game itself is... It's art direction and stuff looks great. Its art direction and all that. All that looks great. But when it goes to do things in motion, it's just like, what, something ain't right here. You know? 4 more to 250. That's correct. Rissick has thrown down the gauntlet again this week, boys. He said he'll do a 50 bomb to get us to 500 if you guys get us close. So check your renewals, check your primes. Those all count. You can celebrate those in chat. If you're like, I can't do a gifted, totally fine. Your renewals can add to the total. Skip mine, you already answered it. Okay, Neo. His employment contract would have the process for firing him for cause in it. This would be a fight over contract interpretation, not breach. Okay, thank you. Lawyers in the chat are helping. So it's a form of contract interpretation. He would be arguing, you had no cause. I'm owed my money. It's Rissick's world. We're just living in it. That's right. Yeah. Minch Tree submits a question. With so many games under Xbox's control, how do you space these games out so each has a chance to succeed? Selling on PlayStation will be harmed by choice paralysis along with PlayStation first party. Well, this is where they're going to have to develop a good relationships with the platforms. Like, they're going to have a good relationship with PlayStation. You're not going to want to release a game like the same week of Wolverine. You know what I mean? That's a bad idea. You don't want to release a game the same week as you know, Intergalactic or Saros or Phantom Blade Zero. You're definitely going to want to navigate the calendar in conjunction with what's going on. Yo, Brian, thank you for 31 months in the renewal, getting us to 387. Welcome back. Didn't they already show the reasons they fired him? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he has a shot at winning. I think he knows he doesn't have a shot at winning. A jury, any jury with a pulse, Metallica Matt with the prime over there on purple gets us one step closer. Boom, 388. Thank you so much. You know, any jury with a pulse is going to look at his behavior and be like, "What do you were a leader. You were in leadership over these people. That's you got to go. You're out of here." You know what I mean? What are you even talking about? He wants a jury trial because I think he's hopeful that, like, I'm assuming maybe, he could get the jury to be like, oh, these were harmful interactions. These were benign interactions. This has all been blown out of proportion. I don't think a jury's going to see it that way. It's not about winning. It's about hoping they want to avoid discovery to the tune of a few million. Agreed. I think that's what this is all about. That's what it's been about since the beginning. It's been about that since the beginning. I don't think he thinks he can win. I think he thinks they'll pay to avoid discovery. Other people did worse is not a defense. He just wants to kick up a storm. Yeah. Other people did worse is just a veiled threat. He's just saying it's a threat, right? No, he's not filing to be petty. Hey, Cat. A 20 bomb from Cat puts us over into the 400s. That's a big one. Thank you so much, Cat. Apparently, the Fable developers forgot to add manly animations to their male characters. The character shown in the trailer walks like a girl. I saw people saying that he didn't walk right. You know, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee this, chat. I actually wonder. Listen. That's an easy fix, okay? That's an easy fix, y'all. But it really makes me wonder, was the ability to like change your character and all that, was that a late addition? They're like, listen, people really want to play as a dude. We're gonna have to make some changes here. You got them childbirthing hips. Oh my gosh. They're like, here comes Stefan. Oh my lands. This game is not finished. Yo, thank you, Alex, for gifting a member over there on Purple. I appreciate it so much. We are very, very close to getting that 50 bomb from Rissick. You guys are the absolute best. We only need about 40 more. I owe YouTube a member thanks to Kat. Let me go ahead and do that now. Oh, and Riddish, another big gifter, comes in with the 20 bomb and gets us to 429. Thank you so much, Riddish. That was definitely a late ad. That's just one more piece of the puzzle. See, I was telling my wife about this last night. After dinner, she's like, you can go down and make the video. I said, you know what? No. I want to discuss this with the live audience because I'll probably think of new things to say or notice or talk about. Oh, wait, I missed two from Alex. I'm so sorry. Alex, you gifted one to Killa. Oh, I missed a couple here. BMO, careful. You hit off your prime. Thank you. And then Alex gifted two. My bad. And then Neo Reaper drops a 5 bomb on YouTube and gets us to 436. Sorry about that. Not trying to miscalculate you guys here. I thought I was bugging. I'm like, the male character walking like a female character. That just adds to what I'm saying. I really just don't think this game is ready. I feel like they're making really, really late stage changes. That means that the male character is a potentially very new idea if he's in the game walking like a chick. They didn't add character transformations. They left that ability up to the player to do so on their own. I mean, listen, if you want to walk like that, walk like that. But like, that doesn't seem intentional. That seems like an accident. That seems like somebody forgot to, like they're saying, go in and actually add new animations. Oh, and Rissick says we're close enough, and he drops the 50 bomb. That's a big one. And gets us to 486. Rissick, the man himself. My kiddos are like, I think they were saying, they were like, you had a big day? I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, Rissick went crazy like last week. And they're like, we usually hear you yelling Rissick. Rissick. Does using my Prime sub get me into the Discord? It does. Yes, it does. Just sync your Twitch account with your Discord account, homie. Yep. Every form of support is support. You get a gifted member, you pay for your membership, or you use a Prime. All that gets you guys into the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, For 4 years now, we've been saying that is the single most important thing for what we do here is you guys picking up your own memberships. The gifteds are super generous and well over the top, but we need more and more people just to grab that $5 membership. You know, grab it on your own so that more people can get gifteds. We don't know how the character was made. I wouldn't put too much stock in that. Could just be female body type with a masculine head. Oh, and another one comes in from Cat. The 20 bomb to push us over. And then another one comes in from Narwaffle. And then a 10 bomb comes in from Rissick. He's keeping the train alive. We're at 517. The next goal is 750. If you guys can hit 750, I will make you a bread the butter emote. That's what we're working on right now. We can no longer do emote unlocks. Like, we're just too low. Our total member count's not near high enough to unlock emotes, but I can design them and swap them. So that'll be our stretch goal right now. If you guys manage to get the stretch goal, I'll give you the bread the butter emote for y'all. I'll make it this evening. That way you guys can have it tomorrow. So Madam and I will be streaming tomorrow night. Mic drop, says Kat. Thank you. I owe YouTube 2 members. I'm going to hold off and see if you guys keep going crazy and if I owe you a 5 bomb. Yeah. I suppose when we hit stretch, maybe I could sweeten the deal and go back to the old days. Only when we're working on stretch, and I could do 5s every 25s. Right now, I only owe you 2 though. I got that impression. I think the character creation is a last minute change. I'm telling you, it feels super late. It's like, oh, we better let people play as a dude. And so they throw in, because think about it, they've got male models in the game already. They're walking around. So they just took those pieces, threw them into the character creator, and you can only randomize your head and your outfit, you know, when you go to start out or whatever. But they didn't change the actual default walking element. You know what I mean? Or are you acting like you're off the hook today? What are you talking about? Off the hook with what? The way you walk in that game could change your relationship status. Henry with 5 months on purple, adding it to the total with the prime. Thank you. You changed 250, you coming to town hall? That was only if we didn't hit the thing. I ain't freaking coming to town hall. That's when we have dinner. Frick y'all. I said I would come to town hall if we didn't unlock Saturday with Madam. I'm not freaking coming down here during my dinner on a Friday. Frick y'all. That was like a concession prize if we didn't unlock Saturday. Saturday's the big thing. If we get it, we get it. Madam and I come down here on a Saturday night and do a stream. And I'm like, listen, if y'all can't get to the 500 and we swing and miss, the concession prize would be, okay, I'll come down and do, you know, town hall with you on a Friday. You ain't getting both. Get the frick out of here. I got a life outside of here, brother. I got a wife upstairs with a migraine. I'm making dinner tonight. I guarantee you that. F them kids. In Fable 3, the character's walk animation was based on morality. Good and more upright was regal. Bad slumped over. If you're good in the new one, you get a sassy walk. That's right. That's right. Listen, if you guys do town hall earlier, I can stop by. If you do it at that 6 o'clock window, I can't show up. It's not a reasonable request. That's literally when we have dinner. I'm being real with y'all. If you guys want me to come to town hall, you need to start it earlier, or I can't show up. So I'm happy to pop in and hang out with y'all, but dinner time's dinner time, man. Like, you know what I mean? I got wife and kiddos. That's like the one immovable thing in the day that I really try to respect. Weekly allowance has been spent. Gotta run. Have a great stream. All right, Kat, you're the best. Appreciate you, Kat. We didn't expect you to come in at 6 after dinner. We got to shop that. I can't do that every week. We're going to hit 250 every week just from people renewing practically. Like, I don't know if I can do that every week. I think we were throwing ideas around. And in my mind, it was, yeah, if y'all don't get Saturday, I'll pop in and hang out with y'all for a little bit. And Madam would be okay with that, knowing that we're off the hook for Saturday. I can't be coming down here every Friday, bro, after dinner. That's not feasible. We got to think of something else. Like, I'm happy to do that every now and again, but y'all are going to hit 250 every week. I can't do that every Friday. Especially if Madam didn't have a migraine and the storm wasn't coming. We had friends offering to babysit. Tonight almost turned into a date night. So I took it as a concession fallback. That's what I took it as. It was like, well, what if we don't hit it? And I was like, well, if you don't hit it, I'll at least come to town hall. It's like, well, if you hit it, then I got to do both. Gee, money, Christmas. That's more than I've ever done. That's more than I've ever done. We're going to move it from Friday to Saturday, and then I also have to come to town hall, and then I also have to do Saturday. That's more than I've ever done. That's a lot of extra commitment outside of like the normal schedule. Like I don't know. I wish family dinner was as important as it used to be to the majority. I took it that way. That's where my mind was, because some of you guys are like, what are y'all talking about? We were breaking this down in the green room. We were just kind of trying to think of like incentives and how to do it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, people were like, well, what happens if we don't hit the 500? And I was like, well, we could make the 250 that I come to town hall or something. I also think that was when we were still doing it on Friday. So the idea was, I'll come to town hall and there won't be a Friday stream. That was, I think, before we made the decision to move it to Saturday. I think Jeff is the only member of their marketing team. They haven't posted anything on their accounts since the Game Awards in December, and Highguard launches in 4 days. I thought you were talking like 30 to 45 minutes. That's tough to do, though, because we start yapping, and we start having a good time. The one time I was in Town Hall, I really liked it. That's part of the reason why I'm like hesitant to just pop in, because I'll end up staying, you'll spend eternity with us. Yo, Ben, love you, Lono. Thank you so much, dude. That's 58 months. Adding to the total. When is Town Hall again? It's Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So wherever you are in the world, that's basically 6 hours from right now. So, a lot of moving parts. Yeah, I think originally I was thinking Friday doesn't happen, I'll come to Town Hall. We've moved it to Saturday, so that kind of conflicts and makes it that's a little tough to get both. Like, also, when it was on Fridays, like, getting both would have been really tough. Like, come to Town Hall and do a Friday. Like, that would have been tough, too. Just because that's a lot of hours on a Friday for me. And a member plus from my man Taylor Made says, big love, my man, getting us to 520. 5 more, and I owe you guys a member. Whoever hits it gets it. It's up for grabs. Purple or YouTube can grab it right now. I'm worried the game is going to be 10 hours deep. I'm not sure what you mean, Jakob. Me and my family have our designated family dinner every night, and my son always begs to do the dinner prayer. Love family time. That's good. That's good work right there. That's good work. Hope Madam feels better. Yeah, I was going to take a break in a little bit and go up and check on her. Because in 1 hour, we're going to be going over and doing a show with Ginger Prime. I'll give you a link, and I'll probably be able to do redirect as well. Purple's lacking. Purple needs their big dog. They need their pork pie. He's the one that usually shows up and starts kicking the tar out of YouTube. He likes to do that. So, bricked. That's right. Freaking bricked. Oh my gosh. I was about an hour behind. That's my bad. I mean, you can expound on what you were saying. I mean, we talked a lot about Fable. Yeah. We talked a lot about Fable. I'm curious what you think. 10 hours deep. You mean like you get 10 hours in and then it's kind of over? So, Highguard Game of the Year. Listen, I got this winter storm rolling in. If we survive the weekend and I got power on Monday, we're definitely going to be checking that sucker out because, good Lord, I think they're going to have server troubles just because people are going to be beating the door down just to, they want to see what this train wreck's all about. You know what I mean? Now hang on a minute. Town Hall was scheduled specifically to hopefully allow me attend, slammed as I am with a litany of many navel-gazing activities. No. Town Hall will still happen. We're not canceling Town Hall. I just won't be able to appear every week. That's not going to work within my schedule. That it can. There are weeks where it could, but yeah. Tom Henderson says, following the announcement of Ubisoft's restructuring and a third round of cost-cutting measures, Ubisoft's internal communication channels are full of employees shaming upper management and asking for change. It's quite something seeing people very openly criticizing a company they work for to such an extent, but after years of struggle, it's not surprising. Some employees tell me this was the final nail in the coffin for them, and they will be seeking employment elsewhere. Others have decided to fast-track their already existing contingency plans in case they were laid off. More have taken to LinkedIn to publicly announce that they're looking for work. They're now looking for work, despite still having a job at the company. Ubisoft is going to experience a massive exodus of talent, even without the impending layoffs. You were so right about Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I just hopped in and it's so good. Isn't it? I didn't get to play more of Memories in Orbit last night. My wife and I are 5 or 6 hours into Core Keeper. We finished Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and boy, oh boy, are we a little hooked on Core Keeper. We haven't hit that wall yet. We feel like we're still making good progress and getting stuff done. It's really enjoyable little game, man. So, Minstree says, does Keeley's rep take a hit because of High Guard? Nothing has been said since he obviously can't believe that was the one last thing game. I mean, Keeley's still talking about it. I don't know. It's either the most elaborate social experiment in like the history of gaming, or it's just going to be a dadgum disaster. You were discussing Wolverine, and to me, I see Max Payne 3 type game, super badass, awesome, but over in 10 hours. Oh yeah, when I was saying my only concern with Wolverine is that the combat's going to get boring quick. Yes. That is a concern for sure. Where is the thing? There it is. Completed. What is this ad read? Okay, hang on. Minutes of acting. Shelter starring Jason Statham. Why did it say Fortnite? Shelter Fortnite. Is there an event for Shelter happening in Fortnite? Okay. So for 5 minutes. All right, I got to show this stretch. It's 30 seconds. It's a 5-minute. It's like a 5-minute thing. Hang on. It's a 5-minute spot for the bounty board on Twitch. It said Fortnite on it. Are they doing some kind of an event in Fortnite? We'll see. I'll read the thing to you after we watch this.
In my upcoming film, Shelter, I play Michael Mason, a man hiding from his past, who must come out of the shadows when he finds something worth standing ground for, to have a chance, a redemption. Now it's your turn to take on the threats.
Oh, it is in Fortnite.
Protect what is important, gain the experience of survival, sacrifice, and ultimately, redemption. Because a storm is coming. It's up to you to become the shelter.
There you go. So, hang on. Let's get that last page up there. All right, so Shelter, only in theaters January 30th. Get your tickets now. Join the action. So, created in Fortnite. So, here's your code if you're wanting to play that in Fortnite. That is something that they're doing right now. I had a channel skin on for a while on Fortnite. It's a really great way to get like sponsored opportunities through Twitch. We're supposed to be getting something very similar to this on the other platform where I can like work with a company and do something like this. So this is great. I appreciate companies like this doing this. It's just, you know, we watch a trailer, we check out something, it's a skin. You guys can check out the movie or the game thing in Fortnite. And then they usually have something for me to read. So let me pull that up. There's probably like an ad read on this as well. There's like talking points that they like you guys to hear. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Okay. Oh, Shelter is coming to theaters. Okay. Only in theaters on January 30th. So this is not something that's like going straight to streaming. It's got Jason Statham in it. If you're a fan of Jason Statham, you have to see this, they're saying. I've liked him in virtually everything I've ever seen him in. He's on a bit of a run right now. I feel like every time I see him in a movie, it's got like that cool high-octane feel to it. I really, really like him. I don't think I've seen him in anything and haven't enjoyed him. So he's been a really enjoyable movie star. But also, they're doing this partnership with Fortnite. So it's a creative map. It's a full roguelike. This means every time we die, we keep our gold, hit the upgrade hub, and come back stronger. It's got the just one more run energy. If you're a fan of Jason Statham, you have to see it. The map is tied to his new movie. You go in and play alongside an elite M16 assassin. Or sorry, MI6 assassin. MI6 assassin. You get to team up with the character Michael Mason for the final boss fight. There's a skill tree, weapon upgrades, better supplies. You get help from Jack the dog. Yeah. So it looks like they basically built a roguelike game inside of Fortnite in celebration of the Shelter movie with Jason Statham that is coming out. Again, it's January 30th in theaters. And we watched the brief ad about it. It was 30 seconds long. So, given we just did an advertisement, I'm going to take a quick break. And I'm going to go check on my wife, okay? And see how she's doing. And, yes, do all the things. Especially you guys on YouTube. Hit that like button, get us to 300 likes. We're currently working on a stretch goal. I will go into Photoshop later today and create you guys a bread the butter emote. You guys were asking for that. We can't really unlock them anymore, but we can go in and swap when we hit stretch goals. So I will be back. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Thanks, y'all. She is just sleeping, so I like quietly crept in, looked, and then got out. So I was like, I don't want to wake her up. There's a big difference between there being 45 seconds between trailer and being able to play, and trailer and 3 weeks of nothing. What are you guys talking about? Oh, the Apex thing versus the High Guard thing. Green tea, hot apple cider, half lemon squeeze, fresh honey, some bourbon. No, bourbon doesn't help. It'll make it worse for her. I know it's bad. I went upstairs. Her phone is in the kitchen, and so is her coffee. And I was like, oh, boy, this is a real one here. I mean, she must have literally been like, I got to go, lay down. She's leaving her coffee and her phone in the kitchen. So I told the kiddos, I said, do not go up there and mess with her or wake her up. You're going to have to take care of lunch on your own. Man sneaking around his own home, the tyranny of children. Well, they're out there watching a movie. They're watching the second Spider-Verse. What's this, Butters? This is a like an Arc Raiders roadmap. January headwinds, new matchmaking option plus 40, new minor map condition, player project. February Shrouded Sky, new map condition, new arc threat, player project, raider deck, map update, expedition window. March Flashpoint, new map condition, new arc threat, player project, scrappy update. And then April is Riven Tides, new map, new large arc, new map condition, expedition window. Weezy says, I think you're being willfully ignorant because you plan on playing it, or you're ignoring the overwhelmingly negative public sentiment. They didn't even pay for the spot in the Game Awards announcement. So much of the negativity has come from when the announcement happened. Okay, so here's the thing, Sven. You're not wrong, but I also feel like that's only half of the story. Because if that trailer would have landed anywhere else, people would have all said the same thing, just not as loudly or as much. It'd have been like, that just looks like another live service hero slop game that no one's interested in. It would be forgotten. Like, I get what you're saying, but at some level, the only reason that people are interested in asking the question, the only reason people are even going to pay any dadgum attention to that game in the next 72 hours is because of where Keighley put it. If that would have been in the middle of the showcase, I wouldn't have a video on the channel about it. I wouldn't even be thinking like, man, I hope I don't lose power. That's going to be great for viewership to dunk on this thing. It's become a spectacle because of where it landed. It'd just be some forgotten nothing game if it wouldn't have landed where it landed. You don't keep quiet about a product that has positive and overwhelming positive public press. You might stay quiet for reasons, Wheeze. You might drip feed leaks and drip feed info. But yeah, I don't. Jiminy Christmas. I cannot imagine being like, if that thing would have landed in the middle of the Game Awards, I don't even think we would be talking about it. We would have forgotten about it by now. Sven being the optimist, that's on brand. I just think he does, I think unless there is super concrete reasons, I can't remember what Sven's outlook was on Mind's Eye, but I feel like when there's concrete reasons, he's like, oh yeah, that looks like crap. if there aren't concrete reasons, he's like, let's give it a shot. I think that's kind of how he tends to look at the situation. If there's concrete evidence that something is a piece of trash, he'll be like, yeah, that looks like a piece of trash. But it's not that Highguard looks like it's a piece of trash. It looks like something that nobody wants. Does that make sense? Like it's like, yeah, I don't think that it looked like the quality of the game was bad or something. Sorry for looking forward to something. Yeah, it's not that. It's that, I don't know. I feel like people were this way with Concord. It was like, well, I'm at least going to give it a shot. And I'm like, yeah, but the consensus really does matter. The consensus really does matter. And I think a lot of the times it just gets couched as, oh, it's hate, it's brigading, it's just content creators being negative. And I'm like, that is certainly a trend. That is certainly something that happens. I'll never deny that's not a reality sometimes. It's being crucified for a 2-minute trailer. Yeah, that's why I made a video that says it doesn't make any sense. I think they're incredibly out of touch. That's like the nicest way I can put it. I think you're incredibly out of touch if you thought that trailer was going to go over well. It's like they didn't just make it in secrecy. It's like they disconnected from human civilization for the last 3 years. And they were like, yeah, dude. This was before we got gameplay. In February? Mind's Eye looked dope. Wait, isn't that when we watched, though? When did we first see Mind's Eye? Wasn't that when I said it looked bad? I thought I was saying I saw problems with Mind's Eye as early as February. Wasn't that in a state of play? When did we first see the Mind's Eye game? August? It was first publicly teased in August. Oh, that was during the Everywhere game. A full trailer premiered March of 2023. The game's official release was June. Yeah, why was he saying that in February? Wasn't there a state of play? Yeah, right here. Mind's Eye launches summer of 2025 on PS5. Debuts new gameplay and cinematic trailers. This was February the 12th. This was when the following day Sven said that. Oh yeah, these were totally the trailers that I said it looked bad. I said something was wrong. I said it gave me the day before vibes. As early as those trailers, yeah. You said it looked like fake gameplay off rip. I did. Those first trailers. I told y'all. I was like, I don't know, man. This is giving me day before vibes. I was like, all the quick cuts and the way the car was driving. I was like, something's not right. I tried to tell y'all. I was like, there's something wrong here. They literally were like, we're gonna show you gameplay now, and then a bunch of the footage was stuff we'd already seen. I was like, wait, you just showed us some of this stuff in the previous trailer. You said it didn't have real gameplay in the trailer? Yeah, it was real fishy. It's fishy. You hit a grand slam on that one. I did the same thing with the day before. I said, this isn't real. Something's not right. There's no way the game looks like this. And then we really started digging. And boy, did we find a bunch. I was like, hey, this ain't real, dog. This is something's wrong. Like, they were showing us, remember, I think it was Victor saw a piece of the road had a word on it, and we're like, this is an asset flip. Word, like a decal on it. It was like test or sample or something. What did it say on the road? That was so funny when we found that. Is this supposed Mind's Eye dev serious? Who's waiting for a sale? Sven changed his tune. once we had the gameplay. They showed gameplay at that first debut, though. They showed gameplay. Come on now. They had 2 trailers. They literally did 2 trailers. They did the first one, and then they did the second one. I remember the guy saying, now we're going to show you gameplay. And I was like, that looked bad. Mind's Eye gameplay reveal. Yeah, it's right here on YouTube. All of this, yeah. This, it was so fishy. It was fishy from jump. It was fishy from jump, dude. The freaking car. Look, it's like floating. This was the gameplay. This is what you were reacting to. This tricked you, Sven. You gotta wear that, dude. Day after seeing this, you said it looked dope. Come on, man. I love you, Sven. But this was dog water from jump. This was so bad. It was so obviously bad. I couldn't believe. I remember being shocked that people were giving me pushback on this. I was like, y'all, we've been here before. We have been here before. We know what this is. We've seen them. We've seen this game, this strategy. We've seen this strategy before. I know what they're doing. I don't look at the games with the lens that you guys do. I see a trailer and think, oh, that looks cool. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. They show gameplay and we were like saying for months it looked very cherry picked. You playing anything today? I'm going to be on Ginger Prime's podcast in about a half an hour. Let me see here. Okay, he's got the link. I should be able to set up redirect. Redirect, search videos. Save. All right. When this stream ends, we'll redirect to it. You guys won't have to do anything. I'll provide you with a link, obviously, but we'll make it real easy. Hang on a second. I'm all out of sorts. I can't see chat now. There we go. Mind's Eye 2.0 is coming this year. Y'all better be excited for Neo Berlin. That's right. That's right, Neo Berlin. That one looks really bad, too. Do you know why the Fable male characters have female animations? I believe the most obvious answer is the character creator and the character capture of the male is a very late addition, and they didn't have time to change the animation sets. I think it's one more piece of evidence that that game is not ready. And people are like, well, they said it wasn't the finished product, and they have 8 months. I think they need more than 8 months, if that's my opinion on it. I think they need more than 8 months. I think they need about 1.5 to 2 years to really land that plane. I feel like it should get delayed again after what they showed. If that trailer, the warning signs were a 9 out of 10, are your Fable alarms 7, 8, or 9? The Fable alarms are not nearly as high. Mind's Eye looked like garbage that they were trying to trick me with. Fable looks like a bunch of really great ideas that haven't come together in a cohesive way. I feel like they just need more time. Like, all this sounds and looks great. You guys don't look like you're anywhere near landing this plane. I feel like y'all need to delay this. Mind's Eye just looked like garbage. It was like, you're trying to tell me this is great, and I can tell that it's not. Fable, it's like, you guys have great vision, great ideas. I think this game could be amazing. I don't think you're going to land this plane this year. I think you need to delay. It doesn't look ready. A game that's coming out in 8 months, showing 20-second snippets the way that they did. Everyone said Fable looks good. I don't think that everybody has said that. I literally saw a pro, like, Xbox dude saying everything I'm saying. That it just looks rough around the edges. The combat looks janky. And this guy is like pro Xbox, man, and he even saw the same thing I saw. I missed the super chat. I'm sorry. Broken Earth says, anyone else remember when Ubisoft said gamers should be used to not owning the games that they play? Pepperidge Farms remembers. I'm not going to get into it with you, but that got so misrepresented. He put his foot in his mouth, but that's not what he was trying to communicate. It's just another headline hunt. The game was showed in 18 FPS. Yeah, I am not hating. I'm like in the game's corner. I'm like, you guys have great ideas. You seem to be capturing what Fable should be. This thing ain't ready. You're not bringing this thing home in 8 months. I don't believe it. It's too big. It's too expansive. We waited 6 years, and everything they showed was 20-second snippets. They were really quick. There were visible performance issues in the game. Combat and movement did not look good. It did not look like something that I waited 6 years to see. If another big AAA studio did this, I'd be saying the same dadgum thing. I'd be like, I waited 6 years, and this is what you're showing me? Come on. You wouldn't let anybody else get away with this if it was a major AAA studio from PlayStation and we waited a really, really long time and there were visible performance issues and like it was like clunky, sort of like not great, like dated looking combat. I was like, that's fine. It doesn't look amazing. You'd be saying the same thing. You'd be saying the same thing. What exactly did Fable show that was enticing? Absolutely nothing. Folks are banking on the name Fable alone. Oh, no. I think what they showed with the systems and the long-tail decision and changes within the world, I think all that looks great for fans of Fable. It's just all packaged in a way that, to me, sends red flags up. It's like, you guys are not close to landing this. If it's coming out in 8 months, you should be able to walk in the office right now and be like, give me raw gameplay of somebody in combat. I want 10 minutes. Give me raw gameplay of somebody, engaging with NPCs or walking around town. I want 10 minutes. And then you splice all that up and give us nice, long, uncut looks. Homie, a game 8 months away, that is not a big ask. To be like, we need some uncut gameplay of this thing. It's got to be at this point in time in a playable state if it's coming out in 8 months. Come on. We've been here before. This is like when a beta comes out and a game is like a month away and people are like, well, it's just a beta. They could fix it. Brother, 30 days is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Having 7 months instead of 1 month ain't much different. That's a very small window of time in the game development world. It is. Ask any developer. Listen, if your game's in a rough state, not really ready to go, and you haven't really brought everything together, how much can you do in 7 or 8 months with a game of this size? And they'd be like, not much. I mean, that's not a lot of time. That is not a lot of time. We don't know how old this footage is, though. It could be closer to a year. Okay, hang on a second, Lone. Here's my problem with that. I know that's a common pushback. They're like, well, the thing at the beginning said these games are still in development. It doesn't represent the final product. This could be old footage. Okay, fair. Let me ask you something, though. How much better does it look than the pre-alpha footage? It basically looks like the pre-alpha footage. So between the time that you showed us the pre-alpha footage and now, I don't see much of a difference. I still feel like the game is rough around the edges. You come to the table in January, your game's coming out in like 8 months, and you can't you don't have new footage? I understand like the interviews and them walking around the studio. I know that's all prepared well in advance. That's maybe the one thing that I'll give you guys as like a glimmer of hope is like, well, this could have been recorded and captured and put together 3 or 4 months ago. And maybe they've made a bunch of progress. But like what Eugene is saying, Microsoft Studios don't get the benefit of old footage. They don't. I agree. They commonly do this. This is what kills me. They did this with Redfall. They did this with Starfield. They did this with Avowed. They showed footage with visible problems, lack of polish, didn't look that great, and it was representative of the final product. It was. We've been here before. This is actually very, very common with their studios. And I think it's because Microsoft says, crap or get off the pot. We need something to show. We need people confident in the brand, in the game. We need pre-orders. We need whatever. And they show stuff and we're like, that didn't look that good. And everyone's like, it's not done. It's coming. It's like, we've how many times are we going to do this? We did this with some of their biggest games, some of their biggest sections of like, everyone was really big on Avowed, and it just always looked rough to me. It always looked rough. I was like, this doesn't look like a super polished game. Comes out, has performance issues. How did that one even fare with the audience? I don't even remember if we looked. I can't remember. It's got a 77% with the audience. Starfield's even worse. Starfield's down like the 50s. I don't know, man. I don't know. This just sends off all the alarm bells. It's like, this is exactly how you guys packaged Redfall, Starfield, and Avowed. It's the same packaging. It's the same games. It's the same tactics. It drives me up the dadgum wall. It's like, I go to every one of these things with the same expectation. If your game's coming out this year, I want to see uncut gameplay. Show me the dadgum product. Show it to me, because everybody else does. Everybody else does. Like, I don't remember Forbidden West, Spider-Man, or Yote feeling like they were being elusive. They were like, yep, here's the game, here's the gameplay, here's the open world. This all, like, Microsoft games always feel like they're playing some game, like they're being elusive. It's like, just show me the game. What is the deal here? They could be saving the demo for an Xbox showcase. This is your responsibility now? You must know someone at Xbox. Fix this now? What are you talking about? What do you mean fix this now? This was a piece of the promotion. This was a big aspect of the Direct. They were like, Fable's going to do a deep dive. We have a lot to show you. We've been working on this game for a really long time. You should have... You sure as frick could have fooled me. It doesn't look like a game that's been in production for 6 years. It looks like a game that needs 2 more years in the oven. It doesn't look ready. Maybe my standards are too high. So be it. They're too high. But when I'm playing games like Ragnarok and Spider-Man and Forbidden West, and you're like, well, you sound like a pony. Their games come out at a very, very high degree of quality. Every time they showed us gameplay, it was lengthy and uncut. I got to see what I was going to be playing and buying. Plenty of other games have done this. Elden Ring did the same dadgum thing. Here's our game. Boom. Tons of uncut gameplay. We saw every nook and cranny of Elden Ring practically before it came out. At least the opening areas and the opening parts. Now, Elden Ring had performance issues at launch, like the frame stuttering and the frame hitching. That's a FromSoft engine thing that they commonly struggle with. But like, I don't know. There's no way that would accept this from PlayStation. That's what I'm saying, man. If anybody else, especially from PlayStation, walked out with this, people would have been like, are you freaking kidding me? We've been waiting 6 years, and that's what you show? 20-second snippets? You keep cutting the camera? There's visible performance issues? What the huh? Nobody would accept that, and you shouldn't accept it. Bryson says, Reforge always makes good points, but as a PlayStation fanboy, I feel this game hits the bar. I am not trying to convince you that the game's not going to hit the bar or going to be bad. What I'm telling you is, I see all the hallmarks of a game that isn't ready and won't be ready. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the presentation. The presentation really, really communicates a lot. It communicates a lot. I think this is all going to get lost in the weeds. I'll be farmed for content over the weekend, and everybody's going to say, raging, salty, angry, coping pony doesn't want Xbox to have a good game. That'll be the narrative. I'm not talking about the game. I'm in the game's corner. I'm like, this game could be great. It could be great. This is nowhere near ready. It has all of the hallmarks of a game that is not ready. They're doing all the tricks. All the tricks of the trade are in that deep dive. They're all there. We've been here before so many times, and I'm always doing this. I'm like shouting. I did it with Mind's Eye. I did it with Redfall. I did it with Starfield. I did it with Avowed. I did it with the day before. I was like, we've been here before. We know the tricks of the trade. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much you like them. This is a pattern in the market. When this is how the packaging is, when this is how the marketing is, something is amiss. Something ain't right. I'm here to tell you, I think it's an engine level problem. I think they've got a lot of work to do. I think they're still struggling with certain aspects. If this sucker was ready to go in 8 months, they'd have walked out and then have been like, here's 5 minutes, here's 10 minutes of uncut gameplay. We're going to walk you through all the systems, and it ain't going to be hard. You'd walk through a town, you'd interact with an NPC, dialogue options, quest, leave the tavern, hop on your horse, ride out in the open field, go up to a camp, interrogate, fight, get your thing, complete the quest, go back to town. You could showcase every single one of the systems they talked about with a piece of gameplay like that. And instead, it's 20-second snippets every time. Super short, super quick. It's like, what? How does this not? I don't get it. I don't get how nobody else sees it that way. We and this is really, really hard as a gamer. I fully admit this is really, really difficult. You're excited, and it's really hard to think critically because you're excited. And I think a lot of Fable fans were like, oh my gosh, did you hear everything they said? And you don't see the packaging. You don't see the structure. Totally a forgivable thing. I'm encouraging you. I really am encouraging you guys. Go back and watch this with a critical eye. Go back and watch it. And I want you to compare it. Go watch the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay trailer. Go watch the Spider-Man 2 gameplay debut that one year at the showcase. And then I want you to watch the Fable deep dive. The difference is staggering. It is staggering. When a game's coming out and it's big and it's open world and it's ready, go watch all the Elden Ring gameplay debuts in the lead up to that game coming out. Go watch them. The difference is staggering. It's like, this is everything I always try and warn people about. I'm always doing this. I did it with all those other games. I did it with Mind's Eye is the most recent one where I was like, guys, look at this. It's exactly the pattern that we've seen before. It's quick snips. You don't let me see anything. You're trying to make it look a certain way. It's like, come on. What is this? You're not letting me see the game. You're being elusive. You're being elusive. I said it yesterday, but I see the flaws of the combat and the FPC hitches, etc. It's not that I don't see it, is that it isn't a deal breaker for me. I think a lot of these issues can be patched. Sven, my issue is the lack of uncut. That's a huge, huge red flag. It's every section is like 20 seconds. I'm not kidding you. Get out a stopwatch. They almost never let you see more than 20 seconds of gameplay. It's like clockwork. That to me, that's a huge, that is a huge red flag. Like, do you remember when they show, and what people will do is they will say, this idiot expects this game to be like Horizon Forbidden West. Nope. If you leave that comment, you're not paying attention. If you go to the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay trailer, y'all remember, this thing got chopped up one side and down the other. This is a 4-year-old trailer, all right? So they finally come out to show us gameplay. You take them out of the package, bud. Put them in a Ziploc, yes. Be careful when you open it. It'll spill juice everywhere. This is how they debuted the gameplay. Now, she's going to go up in here, and they're going to give you a cutscene here, all right? From this point on, she does this. Okay, from this point on, you just get uncut gameplay. It's just from here all the way to when she gets to the next cutscene. It's just uncut. AOZ says, the game development started in 2018. For something cooking for 8 years, I think the fan base is expecting a monumental game. I feel the expectations are too high because of how long it's been announced. This is more failure of the marketing. Sven says, that's fair. Give me 30 minutes of uncut. I don't need 30 minutes. This is like 9 minutes. Look at how long it hasn't cut. You don't get There isn't a single section of the deep dive yesterday that's even this long. Like, they haven't cut. It's just gameplay. It's just uncut. It's just, yep, this is what she's going to do. She's going to fight. She's going to climb. She's going to swim. How can you not boot up your game in the year that it's coming out and do this? Why is this? I'm telling you, it's always about, I always used to say this with Phil Spencer, right? I always said this. It's not about what he says. It's about what he doesn't say. And with the Fable thing yesterday, it's like, it's not about what they showed. I mean, it is, because there's performance issues and there's some lack of polish. It's about what they didn't show. That section isn't in the game. It leads to a fight that is in the game, though, because she gets to the point where she fights the big like elephant, and that is in the game when you fight on that shoreline. That's a vertical slice that they built, right? Elden Ring showed you the actual game. Spider-Man 2 showed you the actual game. Yote showed you the actual game. This was a slice that they didn't end up putting in the game, but it leads to the one elephant fight, and the elephant fight is in the game. Even Saros had uncut gameplay showcase last year. Yes. Now, to be fair, comparing it to Saros, here's why I'm comparing it to these big open world games, because that's what Fable is promising, a big open world game. Here's what people are going to say. It's a really, really big game, man. It's hard to do that. It's hard to pull out a slice. It's hard to show you the game. It's super big. A ton of other games managed to do it. You don't want to use Saros as an example. Saros is like a smaller game because it's like, okay, it probably would arguably be easier to get a slice of Saros to show people. The reason I'm going to really, really big open world games like Elden Ring and Forbidden West and Yote and even Death Stranding 2 is because they all somehow managed to have big slices of the game to show you. This game doesn't. Counterpoint, maybe supporting point. Look at the Tomb Raider trailer. That was a trailer, and it's comparable to the Fable Deep Dive. These games are both supposed to be released this year. I think the first time a game shows up, I can be a little bit more forgiving. We've just seen Fable so many times, it's hard for me to not see the worrying signs here. It's like this thing's been in development for 8 years. You announced it 6 years ago. And when you finally sit down to do a deep dive with me, I have more footage of your dadgum office than the game. I mean, I'm being exaggeratory. They gave a significant amount of footage. It's the fact that it's so quick. They're all, the snippets are so fast. Name me one Western RPG with incredible combat. I'll wait. Wait, you don't think there's any Western RPGs with good combat? What do you mean? This is not a deep dive. I describe this as a flyover. I felt like they flew over the game. They gave us great info about all of the systems, and the gameplay was incredibly elusive and incredibly quick. It was like quick. Like, even this thing right here that they just showed, where they're like playing in the office. What's interesting to me is, like, that's the exact same thing they showed us. Like, that they're not even showing like snippets in the office that are different than the snippets in the game, in the actual showcase itself. I don't think it's fair to compare them to Guerrilla, though. Guerrilla and Insomniac are the pinnacle of game development. I think it's totally fair to compare them to Guerrilla and Insomniac because that's how people talk about Playground Games. They talk about them like they're one of the best. Did you see some of the tweets from people? They thought this showcase was like, oh yeah, these guys are basically one of the best developers in the business. And I'm like, their showcase does not give me that level of confidence in their ability to build Fable. Now, I trust them to build an amazing Forza Horizon 6, but this game here, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing evidence of them being on the level of a Santa Monica or a Guerrilla or an Insomniac. I'm looking at a game that's supposed to be in development for like 8 years now. You announced it 6 years ago. We're asking for modern. We're asking for good. All the gameplay was so scared to move the character. Crack, maybe. That's what I'm saying. It's like they wouldn't let... They never really let you see that character reposition. He repositions like twice, and it looks awkward when he does. It's like there's a stiffness to it. Look how long it takes to even get to gameplay. This is they finally do it, and this is what you get. Not once has anybody asked for incredible combat from Fable. Yeah, I don't think anybody's asked for incredible. I think people want it to be in line with what they originally showed. They seem to be showing a small area. There's another thing that you should be on the lookout when you rewatch this. There's a ton of use of fog, and they really never let you see a far draw distance. Almost never. It's supposed to be an open world, a seamless open world Fable, and every instance they show you, this is just like a sprawling shot, right? They're not showing me in the game doing anything. Look, contained sightline. Anytime there's actual gameplay, the sightline's very contained. It's very, very set piece feeling. Broken Earth with the $5 super chat. I've never gotten pushback on the Ubisoft quote until you said something. I went and found the article. They really got misrepresented. Oh yeah, everybody ran with it, and nobody wanted to defend it because the headlines were, scathing. Nobody was going to defend what he said because you'd look like some kind of a corporate shill. I went and read it, and I was like, this guy really did not get represented in what he was trying to communicate. He put his foot in his mouth, undeniably, but yeah, this all looks great, but we know what this is. You can put a camera and sweep it through a town or a village and make it look awesome. I'm talking about gameplay. They use the fog to hide the draw distances. I think they're having issues with draw distance and performance. I don't think the engine is conducive to what they've built. I think we're going to have a similar situation that we saw when they tried to use the RE engine for open world games, like Dragon's Dogma. I think that the Forza Tech engine, we heard early rumors that there were issues with the engine. I think we're seeing evidence of it. This is like the only open world-ish scene they show, and that's all you get. That's it. Just her riding on a straight line, and there's visible performance issues. So the one time they actually let us see the open world, there's visible performance issues. Yeah. I actually think you guys needed a break from the screen right now. Can you? Are the window? Are the curtains in the living room open? No, I'm not saying 5 minutes, look out the window. I'm just saying, can you eat your lunch upstairs, get some natural light in the living room, and just sit for a minute, and then maybe later, maybe in a little bit, but not right now. I understand. It's 12:45, okay? I would like you to not be looking at a screen at least until about 1:30. Rest your eyes. The last thing I need is a couple of mopey-dopey kids with headaches and feeling bad because they watch too much TV when I also have a wife with a migraine. So please, no more screen until about 1:30. Thank you. Sorry, the podcast with Ginger is in 15 minutes. That's fine. I don't want you looking at screens. Audiobooks are fine. Yeah, the podcast with Ginger is in 14 minutes. Like, watch all these snippets. Watch them. I think we're about to be in the combat, right? Yeah, we're close to the combat. Anyone else get a headache from 30 FPS? Yes. Yes, I do. It hurts. I remember that happened when I played Spider-Man on the PS4 Pro. Okay, right here, one of the biggest draw distances you're able to see in the whole showcase is right here. Still not super far, maybe 100 yards, and then beyond that's a skybox. And again, there is such a rigidity to everything that he does, right? There's such a rigidity. I love the sword play. I love the sword animations. I love that spin, and I like this, and I like the spell. All of that looks great. It's all of the little moves that he makes. That switch to the kick and then that switch to the stance, those are the things that need to be polished up to make it seem like it's fluid. And here he repositions. That looks so bad. The repositioning just looks so clunky. It looks so indie game AA. It's like, it does not look like a good movement system. The combat animations are great. Those are not what I'm having an issue with. It's all of the little movements in between. And once again, all of these sections are super contained by fog or the room or the cave. It does not look like an open world. It looks like this it reminds me of Avowed. The hip swagger, I just can't think of anything else. Yeah, it's very clear they just swapped it out for the male, and they didn't change the animation sets because he's walking like a chick. This is the best looking section, I think, and even still, when he goes to reposition for the last guy, they don't let you see it. Watch. Again, the walk up. It's all one motion to the next motion, and he would have to reposition for the last guy, and he doesn't do it. I do like the shooting and the knocking them down and hitting them on the head. I do like that. This is similar. See that reposition? That's so awkward. Anytime he has to reposition, it's super stiff. Here he goes. Watch. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like, what is that? Like it's like the animations are all. And there it is again. This weird little awkward, I got to go to the bathroom stutter steps. I'm telling you. And it's not just that. It's like every fight's super contained. Every instance is super set piece, and then they cut. You don't get to see. You just, it's none of it's uncut. None of it's going from one thing to the next. This is not a sign that the game is bad. It's a sign that the game is not ready. They've got all these pieces where they can showcase you something. Great. That doesn't signal to me that your game is ready. It signals to me that your game is not ready. I think that's where people keep kind of missing the forest for the trees with my criticism. Like, well, you're just hating. You're saying the game's bad. It's going to suck. No. I'm seeing all the hallmarks of a game that's not ready. It looks like the world's moving under his feet instead of the character moving. That's exactly what Creature said. He said it looks like the world's moving and not him. Like he's almost kind of like gliding around. Exactly. The world looks like it's moving around the character instead of the character moving in the world. Is this what Uncanny Valley looks like for movement in a game? I don't know. Beast of Reincarnation looked way better than Fable. Beast of Reincarnation's movement did look significantly better. Yes, it looked more seamless. It looked more impactful. That was what really, really surprised me about Beast of Reincarnation. Yep. I was really surprised at how polished that was. That system, that movement, those parries, all of it. I was really surprised. I was like, wow. Apparently, Game Freak outsourced a lot of the work on that game. That's what I saw on our Discord this morning. That would kind of make sense. I'm like, y'all suddenly have this level of combat chops? Like, where did this come from? So, apparently, they got other people to help them build it. So, let's not forget about the lack of facial animations. Yeah. Exactly. So this is one thing I want to say here at the end. We're kind of priming the pump for me to go talk with Ginger about the event. Okay. Do you guys remember this trailer? Where she's walking around town, right? You guys remember this? You see the facial animations? You see that? You see that? Did you see anything like that yesterday? Again, this is why I told you guys, be leery of simulated gameplay. Because they're showing you something to like, oh, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I remember when we first saw this and I saw that woman react like that, I thought, dadgum. That looks crazy. If an NPC actually reacts like that, and it's this alive and it's this living. I didn't see anything like that yesterday. Same thing with the combat. Watch some of these combat sequences. She's still walking a little weird there, a little stiff. I remember telling y'all at the time. I said, this is simulated gameplay, y'all. This isn't gameplay. We haven't seen real gameplay yet. I had so many people disagreeing with me, saying I was being a hater. That we're going through the same thing. When I said it about Redfall, remember when I said, yeah, look at Redfall. The NPCs aren't reacting properly. They're not acting right. And I got told I was being a hater, and I was dead on correct. Said it about Mind's Eye. Said it about Starfield. Said it about the day before. I'm telling you, these trailers back then, I tried to warn people. I was like, this is not. They're playing a sleight of hand game with us. This is not. This right here is all simulated. We've not seen anything that looks like that. And this right here, don't tell me combat doesn't matter in Fable when you put this level of cinematic thrust into your combat sequences, into your dadgum trailer, and then don't come to me and tell me that's all gameplay, bro, you're wrong. And now that it doesn't look like this, oh, well, combat doesn't matter. Okay, well, what, are we just going to shift the goalposts for forever? Because this trailer was defended up one side, down the other as real gameplay. That's what the game's going to look like. One of the actual developers said something somewhere about the game's going to actually look like this. It don't look like that right now to me. You just did a deep dive. I didn't see a single piece of combat that looked like that. Not a single one. Every snippet yesterday looked stiff and rigid and lacking in polish. It did not look like that trailer and what that trailer was selling me. It's not gameplay. That's what I said at the time. I told people. I said, that's not gameplay. Stop calling it gameplay. They did the same thing with State of Decay 3. And I told people. I said, that's not gameplay, y'all. That's simulated gameplay. Don't fall for it. Got called a hater. Got called a hater when I did with Fable. All right. I mean, you want to keep learning those hard lessons, man. You go right ahead. You call me every name in the book. Doesn't make me any less right. Lono may not be able to pick things from the top shelf, but he can pick up issues on bad fake games. Man, that's cold, bro. You gotta bring my height into it. Yeah, you give me simulated gameplay for Perfect Dark, and then you cancel the game. And people did the same thing with Perfect Dark. It's real. That's real. It's gameplay, bro. You're just hating. Sure. We've all been watching trailers for, 10 plus years. I'm telling you, I feel like some people just don't have the ability to see it. It's like you've not developed the sixth sense yet. You just look at it and you're like, looks good to me, and then you move on. And God love you, I'm not asking everybody to break down frame by frame of every trailer and become like Sherlock Holmes the Scrutinous, where you're like getting out the magnifying glass. But gee, many Christmas, I feel like there's so many of these things that are just super, super easy to spot. They're super easy to spot. Mind's Eye was a 10 out of 10. You just couldn't see it with your mind's eye. At least here it's not the same people, to be fair. I thought that wasn't gameplay. Yeah, a lot of people agreed with me on that original Fable trailer. They agreed. They were like, that's not real. They're like, it's simulated. I had a lot of people that were defending it, and they're like, Dev said it was real. Dev said the game's going to look like that. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I was right. The game doesn't look anything like that. It looks like it looks like it's not as bad as the Watch Dogs situation, but man, oh man, does it remind me about that. It just looks too good to be true. It looks too fluid. It looks too crisp. It's something, it's like you can just tell, you're like, something's not right here. At what point can you sue for false advertising? I mean, that's the one thing. I'll end with this. We got to go to Ginger. I'll end with this. Listen, I applaud the fact that they just showed us the rough edges. Like, I feel like Veil's been pulled off. They're showing me the whole thing. Veil's off. They showed me the game with its rough edges. They deserve respect and admiration for that. I applaud them for that. But buddy, it just sends a bunch of red flags up into the air that they got a lot of work to do and it's not ready. So I'm gonna spam a link in chat, and you guys on Purple, you're gonna have to come over to this stream. I'm going to go hang out with Ginger, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to have a podcast about the Xbox Developer Direct, so join me for that. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll redirect you. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. We need 11 more likes to get to 300. That would be amazing to end with 300 likes. Guys, don't forget, you hit the goal. Tomorrow night, Madam and I will be doing Gaming News Tonight. She's going to react to this week's Gaming News. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to have her watch the stuff from the Developer Direct, and we're going to get Madam's thoughts. Don't miss it. Click the link in chat or ride the redirect. I'll see you guys over there for Ginger's podcast. Thanks so much for a great Friday, and I hope to see you guys over there for Ginger's podcast.